Hey, bro, we can do that too. But I want to hear you say it.
I seen him. What is? You still
I'm right here, bro.
Did you watch the interview?
Bro, are you saying Busta Rhymes is gay? That's a brother to me. I know his children, I know his children. This ain't no troll shit. Hey, look, bro, I'm asking you a question.
I don't troll. I don't do no trolling.
Bro, I want to hear you say it. Say it. I want to hear you say it. Just say it. Hey, bro, I promise you we're going to deal with you. I promise you. Just say it. Are you saying, bro, are you saying Busta Rhymes is
big
gay?
homie
Is that what you're
CC,
saying?
man.
I want to hear you say that.
What is up, YouTube?
Did you watch the interview?
That's big homie CC, man. Hey, the dude, he asked him, did you watch the interview? My man said, say it. Why you know what he said in the interview? Why you keep going back and forth with this bull, man? You know what big homie said in the interview. So handle your business. That's it. Say it right now. So are you saying, hey, come on, man. You seen the interview.
Yo, RB, get off my stage.
Yeah, that's crazy. Like he couldn't say it, so it probably lying, but we don't know because all kinds of stuff is happening. This is the beginning of 2025, and it's already turned out spicy. The LA fires, all the stuff that's just been happening, and we only 14 days in this month, 16 days in this month.
Dude, you ain't seeing big homie CC. Did you see the interview?
Is this a good year for hip hop? Is Busta Rhymes?
It's a terrible year for hip hop.
Is Busta Rhymes part of the community?
It's a terrible year for hip hop.
The beat down community? Is he just beating people up left and right because he could do that? Or let us know.
That's funny, man. That's funny how one side, like I'm down with big homie CC. He does a lot of stuff in the street, saving people, bringing people kids back and all this type of stuff. And he does a lot of bodyguarding. So he has a lot of skills on different things. And he was bodyguarding. I don't know if he was bodyguarding Busta Rhymes, but he was bodyguarding somebody, and he's seen what he's seen. So he telling the stories in his interview. And now this guy talking about some, are you saying we don't know what they call it. If you like sleeping with men, period. In my book, you gay. I don't know what I'm not gay. I go both ways. Nah, dude. If you sleep with the same sex or do anything with the same sex, then you gay. That's just how I was raised. I don't even want to shake a man's hand. Hey, look here. Y'all let me know what y'all think. I'm going to get on up out of here. Y'all take it light, take it slow. Tell them Uncle Mike told you so. Peace out. Perfect timing because I got to go to the bathroom again. Dude, my tail done. I ain't hit stop yet. Dude, I done drunk 10 bottles. 10 bottles of water. 10. This is number 11. Since I got off the phone with you, Stephanie. Oh, wow. I was in pain.
You need to. Are you gonna get that checked out in Philippines?
Maybe they can.
I mean, it would probably be cheaper over.
Okay. We might as well let the cat out the bag. I
am the worst.
Yeah, I noticed.
Because I just be talking about whatever. I don't even be thinking about it. I'll be like, yep, that's a sign of an honest person right there.
Yeah. Hello, Mike. Hey, JRS. Did y'all have fun last night? Who went to the website? Nobody.
No, I just got over here.
RecordingNetwork.com. It's still up.
I was actually about to look for something.
Everybody want to do work, but don't nobody want to do the work.
I'll be working. I didn't get everything done. I got little things. Stuff honest Honest word vomit. Yeah, I am Plotter. Honest word vomit. That is me. And you can know it's gonna come out. I'll be like, oh my bad, dang it. I'll go ahead and do the shout out since Mike started us early today.
Oh, my bad. Because I ain't want to miss the click. 5 o'clock is
Talking
5. It's 5 o'clock now.
You go upstairs.
Who said go upstairs?
I said go upstairs. You go upstairs right now.
Who,
Hey,
me?
Miss Gothi. Yeah. Hey, Mina. How you doing, Mina? Hey, Grandma D. What's going on? Plotter. What's going on? Steph. The Stephanie. Hey, what's going on? JRS. What's going on? Window pane. How you doing? How you doing? Tahir.
To there to everywhere.
Tahir, as always. Miss Gothi. Did I say that? Did I say you already? Maybe. Hey, how you doing? Queenie, how you doing? Anna, Gail, how you doing? How you doing? Let's see. Nightbot with the support. Debbie with the 2 cats. Hey, how are you?
Hey,
Let's
Debbie.
See.
Debbie.
Jamie.
One
hey,
cat.
Jamie. How are you, Jamie?
Jamie.
I hope everybody had a good day today. I did. It's my first day off. And it went by so fast. Oh my goodness, so fast. The Aqua Show. Hey, welcome from Maggie's Live. Thank you, Aqua, for joining us. Welcome.
I know one thing.
Sit back. Lisa Bruno. Hey, how you doing? Stream Elements. Hey. Ada, thanks for subscribing to the Aqua Show. Thanks for subscribing, Ada Santiago. Ada, you found us. Thank you for coming. I hope you got that message from me. Mike, Ada is someone that we met over on Maggie's channel, and she has a story that she would be willing to share with us today.
Great.
So we know that you would welcome that. I didn't know you were talking about Uncle Mike. I've watched this. Okay, yeah, we were talking about Uncle Mike. Yeah. I just saw you on Maggie's Live. I hope you guys can help Ada. Yes, Lisa, we are definitely going to try our best to get Ada in the right direction, around the right people that can assist. You know, may not have all the answers, but the thing is, when you pull some great minds together, you can come up with some, a great plan, and that's part of the battle. It's an uphill battle though, and they make it that way because they want you to give up. They want you to stop what you're doing, and that's with anything, not just with that. If they can discourage you easily, then they won. So we have to make sure that they don't achieve that. So Jackie Davis, hi Steph, Mike from Maggie's Live. Thank you for joining us from Maggie's Live. Thank you. Big shout out to Maggie, her live. She really Mike put all your information in the chat today, and they sent everybody over. So I think a lot of people are coming over from Maggie's channel today. So welcome, you guys. Welcome. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm just doing roll call, so just calling out everybody. While Mike said he had to go to, so I don't know if he's going, but he should have been going. But hey Murph, my brother, let me drop the link for you, Murph. Let's see. I am sub to Uncle Mike. Thank you. Thank you. I love it. And this is what it's all about. This is what this network, this is what my goal was. I knew I had a mission that was too big for me, and I needed a network of people around me in order to help me move this mission forward, and connected with, Mike. And he was so gracious to allow me to be on his channel, and then inviting me to be co-host with him, and then just meeting everyone else, from then. And this is what it is supposed to be, this network that comes together. And when we come together, we can do great things. So I'm just excited. It's an exciting day for me. Mom, hey, brother.
How you doing, sister?
What up, brother?
I am doing all right. I'm doing all right.
Mike, you
Waiting
look
for
like
Mike.
you look like your head's expanded upwards.
Upwards. Man, I just got out of the bed about an hour ago.
Oh, bless you.
Man, I was hurting so bad. I said, God dang. Stephanie said, you need to take a rest. I'm not resting. Forget that. All you doing is sitting here.
Yeah,
Are you feeling better than you were yesterday, though?
And then he said, I'm not resting. I need to work. And that's what people, they take a rest. And then at the end of the conversation, he's like, I'm about to go back to work. I said, no. He's like, I'm about to go back to sleep. I said, no, you get your ass up now. You go work. Because I told you to take a rest. You said you wasn't resting, so get your ass up.
After
Are you
all
feeling?
that talk.
Are you feeling better than you did yesterday, though? Because you weren't feeling well yesterday.
Yeah, I'm feeling a lot better, but
But your head's expanded upwards.
You said what?
No, it's the way you're wearing your cap, mate.
Yeah, his hat's sitting high up on his head today.
Yeah.
Oh, that's because it's hot, so I'm letting air get up under here. At least I think I am.
You got the head, the heat cranking today, huh?
Yeah, the heat cranked all up.
Can we just give a shout out to? Can we just give a shout out to Maggie as well, because she's just trying to send everybody over here as well. So
we did, yes. We could give another shout out to Maggie. Yes, absolutely. Go ahead, Murph.
Tell Maggie to go upstairs.
Hey, Maria.
That's my
hey,
buddy.
how you doing?
I know I love her. Wait a minute, I'm trying to get this thing to move.
Yeah. Before you popped in, Murph, I was just telling Mike that Maggie sent, everyone over here, and that she was promoting his channel and just telling her to come over here. Ada's in the room. I see she's already over here, so that's great. So of course Mike is
Ada, right? So
yes, she can come up. So yeah.
All right, now
I'm waiting for Mike to go do what he needs to do, because he said he had to go to the bathroom, but he ain't moved yet. So I'm trying not to get too far without him.
No. What y'all want to do? Start a video or something?
Well, I mean, do you have one?
No.
So you just go and we'll talk about it, because I was actually gonna look for one while you were talking. Yeah, because we're talking about, I think, foster care, and the money and it's amazing how things just fall into place, because we were talking to Ada and talking to Melissa last time, and how allegedly with foster cares, sometimes it's a numbers game, and the reason why you do or do not get them back is because of the amount of money that some of these places are getting in off of these children that they're taking out of the homes, allegedly. So it's very interesting about that, but yes, everything happens for a reason. Absolutely, everything happens for a reason. I love that. I love that. I love when God does things like that. It's just like, yep, I see you. I see you. I see you.
I see you shaking that ass. Shaking that ass.
No, I don't see God shaking that, but I see him. But I do see him. I do see him. I do see him moving things in a way, and things happening. So don't get me wrong. Don't put that on my resume. I got a resume I got to answer for when I get there. But God is not gonna be like, Steph, you was telling people I was shaking my ass. No, God, I was not telling nobody you were shaking your ass.
No, it was me that said it, not you.
Yes, and God knows my heart, because we joke all the time. Me and the Lord have jokes all the time. You got to when you're living in this world, honey.
Exactly.
Yeah. Hey, Helena, or Helena, whichever way you say it. There's two ways to say it. Trisha, Maria, you good now, Mike?
Yes, indeedy, boy. I've been drinking all this water. Woo!
Okay.
Good man. Good man. How's
the people I look for? Now he done got up again. I said, "Are you ready?" He said, "Yes, indeed."
I'm listening. I'm sorry. I just had to close the door.
I need you to greet the people. You and Merv to greet the people, so I can search for the video.
Shout out to you.
Hello, people. I'm greeting you. So, who have we got in the chat? So we've got my brother Plotter's ace, man. We've got JRS, who's a staple in the community. We've got Mumstar. Mum, you are the mum of the group. We've got Jamie, as always, beautiful. We've got Miss Gothy. Hi, Miss Gothy. We've got MSD, Miss D. We've got hey MSD. And we've got Trisha Tennell. We've got who else have we got? We've got Debbie Two Cats in the building. I'm ordering pizza tonight. Don't, because I've just eaten and now I'm hungry again. I think Mike's rubbing off on me, man.
Yeah. Nah, homie. How did this happen?
We've got Melissa K, Helena G, you beautiful ladies, Maria. Hey, Maria. Obviously we've got Ada, right? We've got Ada, and for those that don't know, right, and Ada, you make it clear when you're ready to, or if you're ready to come up and talk, and we'll get you on.
She's ready. I think she's ready. She said she was trying to get on. She's having some issues. Let me drop the link again. I see Miss D is up here. So
Plotter, I know. I'd literally just eaten and I'm hungry again because people are talking about food. It's Mike. It's the Mike influence. That's what it is.
It ain't me.
What are you trying to say?
I'm trying to say it ain't me because I'm hungry. Man, I wasn't feeling that good last night, but I just ain't. I knew something was happening, and sure enough, I couldn't sleep last night. So long story short, no KFC and wine for you, Mike. I was gonna go to KFC, but I was talking to Stephanie, and I kept saying, "Man, I need to get ready. I need to get dressed." Next thing you know, something was telling me to stay in the bed because guess what? My kidney stones started hurting like somebody's business. Yeah. Miss D, how you be? Is that Miss D?
Hello.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
No, we can't hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Nah, we can't hear you. Can you hear me?
Ha 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 ha. You're funny.
You're doing beautiful.
Ha 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 ha. You're so funny.
What's going on?
I can't see me though. That's the thing is I can't see my logo. So I didn't know I was on yet.
Yeah. I can't.
Be like you last night when I was waiting to see if you're gonna pick your nose while we were all watching you and Murph was talking.
Oh my gracious.
I want to share my presentation I have been making for our Where Are the Children initiative, I guess we'll call it, our petition. Okay. And if I can share my screen in a minute, I'm really proud of what I've come up with so far. Just kind of a sneak peek, if that is okay with you guys.
Sure. Do we need to give you permission to share your screen or?
I'm not sure. Murph or Steph, have you had a chance to look at it yet?
I've not had a chance to. Is it the email that you sent earlier?
No, the email I sent you earlier was something different. It was my personal stuff.
Right. Okay. No,
that was personal.
Yeah. In that case, no, I've not.
Okay. Let me see if I can hit present if it will let me do it because it did the other day when I was on here.
Not blind. How you doing? Not blind.
Hey, not blind.
That's my buddy right there. Yeah.
It won't let me share, I don't think, unless you actually bring me, or unless you give me permission, Mike.
How do I give you permission?
I have no idea.
You can't give permission on the account. The permissions are already taken up.
What?
Yeah. So I did the other day, and I don't know why it's not letting me do it now. I have no clue.
But how you, all of a sudden, it was trying to do it.
It was trying to, and then you, it didn't go through or something. Let me try again. Chrome tab, window. I don't know which one to pick. It won't let me hit share, so I don't know why. Oh, there it goes. Okay, you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. We
Let's see if
ready?
this works.
She
Let's
saw
see if it works.
You ready?
You ready? Let's see if it works.
Yeah, we should.
Oh,
Yeah,
you see my screen?
Yes.
Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
All right, now I see my screen too. So here, first off, I'm not going to be on here long today. I got a really bad headache, and this is our weather today. So this is why I'm not going to be on long. I sent this to you, Mike. So So that's just where I live and what is going on in my neck of the woods right now. Yeah, the wind is blowing like 40 miles an hour, and we're supposed to have it up to 60 to 70 miles per hour later. So yeah, can y'all see my screen? Because I pulled off of where I can't see you guys anymore.
Yeah, we still see your screen.
You
We
see
can
it? Okay.
Yeah.
So here we go. I only got the first 2 slides really down. I've got kind of skeleton plans past there, so I can kind of preview it with you and make sure that you guys like this and think we're going in the right direction. I'm open to any suggestions for change, but I'm really kind of proud of what I've come up with. So here we go.
Okay. Okay.
Oh.
Was that the end, or is that just? Is it still
This
loading?
is just the beginning.
Oh,
are you
sorry.
seeing it now still?
Yeah, we can
Yes,
see
I
it.
see it.
Oh. You're in double. Is that it, or is it running?
No, it goes on a little more.
Oh, that's me. I kept saying I hit double. Miss D, what you doing, Miss D?
You still seeing it?
Yeah, it's just sitting there. Where the children?
It's just sitting there? Could you hear it?
No.
You couldn't hear it anymore?
No, but she's sitting there. That's why I was asking. Yeah.
Well, I don't know why it did that, because I'm super proud. But this is just kind of, I don't know why it did that, because it must have froze on me. Could y'all hear most of it, though?
No, we couldn't hear anything. We just saw images.
Well, I'm going to have to send it to you guys.
Yeah,
and you guys
that reminds me of
it.
Courtney. It's like I want to tell it so
Sorry,
bad that I heard. Yeah,
I'm
we
not
heard the
on a
whole
YouTube
thing.
thing. I can send it to you guys, and you guys can play it because it reads. I thought you could hear it, not just see it. So I apologize. I sent it to Steph. I sent you the link if you want to try on your end, because I don't know why you couldn't hear the slideshow.
Yeah. Well,
Maybe I'll have to make a video of it, and then actually I'll do the video. I can do a little video in a minute, and we can retry again, because I'm really proud of what I've got. I just thought y'all could hear it and didn't realize that you aren't hearing it.
Okay.
So you want me to try to make a video and I can send it to you, Mike?
Yeah, you can upload it to YouTube or something like that.
Yeah, I can just email it to you. It won't take me long. All I gotta do is do it in Zoom.
No, well, we already started this video.
Yep. No. You do your video, and I'll be back later.
There you go. All righty.
Okay. I'll be back on in
Thank
a
you,
little bit.
Miss
Okay.
D. Looks good so
Yes,
far.
ma'am.
Looks good so far. Thank you.
I'm excited about it, but I wish y'all could have heard it. So I'll be back.
We'll play when it's fully ready, Misty.
Yep, I'll be back. Bye-bye.
All righty. Bye-bye. Miss D, how you be?
Not this one, Mike. The first one that I sent.
Oh man, look
can
at you.
I just
You always
address
start from the
something?
bottom, and I always put in the order from top down.
Yeah, but the thing about it is, yes, what is it? The unending search of Sear and Wood. No.
U.S. Family Separated. It's the one right above the one you just clicked on.
Okay. Even though. Okay. Yeah. Nah, homie.
Just whilst you're doing that, Mike, I just want to address Ada in the side chat. If you're listening, my love. Right, click the link that Tahir has put, not the one that Stephanie dropped to you, because sometimes when, for some reason, when Steph's links don't work for me either, so I need to get one from Tahir.
What, a link to do for what?
She said her phone is on 20%, so she has to charge it. So that's what she said. She put in the chat too.
Right. Okay. Cool.
So yes, but we're ready whenever you are, Ada.
All right, we ready for this?
Yes, sir.
Are you ready for this?
Are y'all ready for this? Wow. All right. Main reason for the removal of children from parents. Poverty in the United States. Here we go. What is YouTube? How y'all doing? Yeah. Check it out without a doubt, man. We are on our live channel once again. Man, we stay over here, man. We got people coming in and we got new people coming in and all that stuff. And we playing videos and we talk about it a whole lot longer and get our chat room involved in what's going on. So if you need some support, any type of support system, man, we are here to help support people. And this video right here, check this out. Poverty in the United States. Main reason for the removal of children from parents. The main reason is poverty. So y'all hit that subscribe button, hit that bell. Hey, let's check this bad boy out.
I don't think I could ever be a normal mom without having to think about the department. I'm walking on eggshells, and I don't think that's how you're supposed to live, as a parent.
What DCFS doesn't realize is that when they take these children from their parents, they're not just separating the child from the parent, they're separating the parent from the child. It's trauma on both ends.
Wow, that's something to think about right there. Yeah, the parents. Wow, that's crazy.
It was scary because I didn't know how to react to it. They're kidnapping my son. That's the way I looked at it.
The primary reason for child welfare involvement is neglect. Which is a broad, very amorphously defined concept that basically conflates with poverty and these conditions that are related to poverty, such as homelessness, right? Such as lack of access to childcare, such as food insecurity. All these things are being criminalized, right? By a system that does not provide the solutions to those conditions, but rather takes families through an entire court process of prosecution that oftentimes leads to trauma, disruption, and actual destruction of family ties.
I love you. Thank you. I love you too. All right, you gonna have a good day?
All righty.
All right, high five. All right. My life before DCFS involvement was great. Every day was full of laughter, definitely loudness. We would do our turn up hour and then we would dance and we sing and have a bunch of little party turn up really quick before bed. Whee! DCFS asked me to drug test and I tested positive for marijuana, of course, because I use it medicinally. And at that time, the judge said, we're gonna make the children ward of the state, but they'll stay in your care.
Are you excited to see your kids?
Yeah.
How do you feel every Thursday when you're going to see them?
I'm usually happy and sad at the same time.
Court-ordered supervision, or sometimes called family maintenance, is a very invasive and very intrusive government intervention into the privacy of the family.
One likes talkies. The social worker was making me upset because she would pop up at my kid's school. She would pop up at my house and I'd be in the middle of cooking dinner and she'd like, can you turn the dinner off? I started to get frustrated. You're coming here every 2 weeks. You're stopping my day. Now you want to do a walkthrough. You want me to undress the kids. You want to take my children in the rooms, interrogate them, and ask them very inappropriate questions. That is very, very inappropriate.
Wow, that's crazy.
If you're looking for a reason to say there's some risk, if you keep looking,
you're going to find something.
You could probably find something in any family. They can take note of many small things. And there's just so much discretion for the caseworker to come in and decide.
For me, it's defamation of character. Because in those reports, when I read them, it feels like I'm reading a story about someone else.
You hear that? This is a case about her and she reading a report. And I swear it ain't me. Sound like it's a report about somebody else. Wow, that's crazy.
Defamation of character. Because in those reports, when I read them, it feels like I'm reading a story about someone else. When they come to your house, they perceive you as a people, not as an individual. You're Eleanor, you're Black. You must have problems and you need our help. Because best believe, if you've got money, DCFS won't knock on your door. Because you just hand them a card to your lawyer. You've got that whole day of November 1st, right? I sent my kids to school in their Halloween costumes. 3 o'clock when I went to pick up my kids from the bus, they didn't get off. I will never forget that feeling. Because I knew then that they took my kids without me knowing. No one called me to tell me they took my children from me. No one gave me a paperwork, no one gave me a warrant, no one gave me anything.
We need that.
When the police and the ambulance got to my home, the father was gone. I met initially with a DCF investigator who questioned me, asked me what happened. From there on, a lot of it is a blur because it was so traumatizing. Within the week, I had already lost custody of the kids, and I wasn't allowed to go back to the hospital to see my son. So once the court took temporary custody, the kids were placed into the foster system.
The legal removal from her care happened while she was at the hospital and without a full discussion of what it was.
Nobody explained to me anything of the order of temporary custody. Nobody explained to me the petition to terminate my parental rights.
Remember, she didn't have a lawyer yet at that point. So in those moments, the parent really has no leverage, no ability to negotiate, and no one to tell them, other than the agency, what's going on and what are the variables.
I love you and have a good day. I love you more.
DCF was aware of us because I had a prior case, which I didn't reunify with my children, and Adrian tested positive for drugs from his parole officer.
Supposedly.
Allegedly.
Automatically, they assumed that I was dirty, and that led to the removal of Maximus. That's all they needed. They said it was the allegation of neglect, so they just painted a picture of their own. At the beginning, we only got to see him, twice a week?
Go to the camera. Oh, you're so cute.
Our son is getting closer to this other family, and because we're not seeing him as often and as much.
Tickle butt? He was more quiet. Like when we had visits,
he was more closed off.
He wasn't playful with us, though. He wasn't playful with us like he was the foster family.
My oldest is the one that gets hit the hardest. His trauma is behavioral, emotionally, anxiety. He suffers from PTSD.
They're not protecting our children. They're just giving our children to random people and expecting them to care about our kids the same way we do.
September 29th, 2022. Color for today is brown. Boy is...
They assigned us requirements to do in order to get Max back. Individual therapy sessions, parenting classes, substance abuse classes, along with random color testing.
So today is brown, meaning anybody who was assigned the color brown has to go and do their P test for drugs. Yeah. Today's not our color though. Mine's pink and Adrian's is red.
I completed all my steps before my 6 months. So what you want me to do? Double of everything? I finished it already. I did what I was supposed to. And they still held on to my kids for 3 years.
3 years?
Often these service plans really have nothing to do with either the issues that brought the family into the system or with their needs or their desires or anything that will benefit them.
They never ask you what actually helps you.
The thing is, you're never quite free from them. A poor parent exists in a web of surveillance and expectation and lack.
The system spends about 10 times more on investigation, separation, and terminating children's rights and adoption than it does on so-called preventive services that would be accessible for parents to avoid having to come into the child welfare system.
In other words, the system lacks helping people. It's easy. All you got to do is help people. Focus on helping people, not hurting them.
It's called a tick box exercise, Mike. That's all they're doing.
I can't believe they're taking these kids like that, man. That's crazy.
Well,
so-called
you think
preventive
about it.
services that would
Go ahead.
You think about it. It's a lot like allegedly our healthcare system, right? There's no money in the help, right? There's no money in helping and preventing. The money is
Right.
in when you get sick and when now they have to, amputate your leg, allegedly.
Yeah,
or
the
whatever.
money is in
Same
keeping,
concept.
not curing the disease, but just treating it until your liver gives out.
Yeah, all they're
Right,
bothered about
exactly.
is that they get money per child, and that money goes into their business and pays their wages. That's and I can speak directly and not even allegedly over here in this country, right? That it's literally called a tick box exercise, and they have quotas of how many children need to be taken away from their parents.
Mhm.
Crazy.
And
Man,
Ada, you are not alone, honey. You are not alone. There are so many parents that have gone through this. So many. You are not alone.
Yeah. Okay. Here we go. Let's keep
A
going.
poor parent exists in a web of surveillance and expectation and lack.
The system spends about 10 times more on investigation, separation, and terminating children's rights and adoption than it does on so-called preventive services that would be accessible for parents to avoid having to come into the child welfare system.
That's crazy. The way she done broke it down, that's crazy.
Bills and more bills. Bills. After your rights are terminated, and then they give you one final visit. And when you think about like a final visit with your 4-year-old, your 3-year-old, it's a really long time. It's a really long time for them to be 18.
There's something completely wrong with their structure of how they go about determining on if a child is really being neglected or if a parent just needs some type of guidance, needs some therapy, needs some help for the substance abuse class, or needs somebody just to talk to because they're depressed. And we're off, Max.
We already know that poverty is the main driver. Put that money into communities. We know the zip codes. We know what the conditions of those communities are.
As far as what my children have endured in these past 3 years, it's gonna be a huge adjustment. Them ain't the same kids. Those are traumatized children. Those are children that have been through something. I feel like I'd be the best person to fix all those problems. Would it be easy? No. It's gonna be a hellified road. Am I ready for it? Yes. Am I willing to take it on? 100%. I gave birth to all those kids, and I would give my life for all those kids.
That's crazy, man. They spend more time and effort in dividing the family up. United we stand, divided we fall. But
Yep.
the thing that tripped me out is it's like nobody want to concentrate on helping people. They should have a system in place to help these parents. It should be a system where the mother come and monitor and talk to the kids and ask the kids questions or something. I don't know. Only thing I know is
Why do you think that all over the world there are these small charities popping up to help people? Now, these charities shouldn't need to exist.
exactly. The government should be helping people.
Yeah, exactly. And what we're doing shouldn't need to exist. We shouldn't have to be doing what we're doing and trying to put this plan together.
Right. We shouldn't be. You're right. This whole channel, what we doing right now, should not be happening. Because every country should have this already in place.
Yeah, exactly. But you see all these and governments all over the world, especially in the bigger countries, you know, the more when I say bigger, I don't mean by landmass, I mean by their state of the world, you know what I mean? But you see that the governments are relying on charities to sort these stuff out. When I'm sorry, but when we elect somebody and we elect a government, the government are the people that should be looking after us. That is why you elect a government.
Exactly. By the people, for the people.
Yeah.
All right, Job. We're gonna get on up out of here. Let me put a closing on this, man. That is crazy. Y'all come over to the Music Recording Network Live, where we talk more and more about all the stuff that's going on with the kids. Where are the children? We have a lot of people that has been, lack of a better word, abused in some type of way. They come up to say their stories and everything. I try to help as many people as I can. So we putting together a system and a team. So come on over and join us. Look here, I'm gonna get on up out of here. Y'all take it light, take it slow. You tell them Uncle Mike told you so. Peace out. Yeah, that's
And Mike does that outro for the other video. So we're not going anywhere. We just, when we do reactions to certain videos, Mike does an intro, he does an outro. So anytime he says that, don't go anywhere. He's doing that so the video can be cut into here, can drop it later. So just for anybody that's new.
Yeah, most
I
definitely.
sent you some more, Mike. I sent you some more videos. They're all pretty, like, they're not that long. So
yeah, if you leave, you gotta go upstairs.
Yeah, we'll be here for a couple of hours, so we just getting started, guys. So get comfortable.
All right, which one you want me to play for?
Can I just say to Ada? Can I just say to Ada in the side chat, are you okay, my love? Just pop a message, just letting us know you're okay, because I know that must have been a hard watch for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which one?
Any of them now. Any of those other ones in any order you want is fine. I just wanted that one to be the first one.
Like a disco. Boy.
That they have to take your children away.
What is up? YouTube, how you doing? Check it out, man. We are on our live channel, the Music Recording Network Live. The Music Recording Network Live. We also great start doing our YouTube course. So we are over here on the live channel. We're talking about all kinds of stuff that can help you. That's what Mike Cross, Uncle Mike, is all about. I keep saying Mike Cross. I changed my name to Uncle Mike because everybody called me Uncle Mike. But seriously, though, we're here to help. If you need help, my team and I will help you. Wherever you need help at, we can find a solution for you. So y'all hit that subscribe button, hit that bell, support the channel, and let's check it out.
How would you describe what that moment is like when they tell you that they have to take your children away?
Time feels frozen in that moment. Everything's completely different than what it was before.
This is Alexis. 6 years ago, her children were removed from her home and placed with the other 400,000 children in the U.S. foster care system.
There are horrible things that happen to children that should never happen to anybody. And those kids need to be removed. But the majority of the time, they want to provide for their kids, but they couldn't because of the circumstances related to poverty.
This is Adrian Lewis, and he has...
That is so... This is so real, man. You got a single mother. This what happens over and over again. You got a single mother that's going to work, working 2 jobs to feed all these kids. There's no father in the house, so the kids are almost being taken care of by some little babysitter that ain't doing what they supposed to do. The kids are not doing their homework. This happens all the time, and next thing you know, it should be some assistance for different things like this. Here we go.
It's a vision to fix America's foster care system. It begins with real-time support to families in crisis.
So I'm starting to see so many of these alerts pop up from all over the country.
Wow. Care Portal's getting over 100 requests every single day from government agencies all over this country. We have found a way to leverage technology to bring disconnected people around serving families in crisis. Just coming alongside a family with the resources you have can be the difference between a family staying together or kids having to go somewhere else.
Adrian's project is incredibly ambitious, but could an app actually be the missing ingredient in keeping these families together?
The only constant my children ever had was me, and that was taken away from them.
This is Stand Together Presents stories, ideas, and advice from changemakers tackling our biggest challenges.
The foster care system is the most strategic place for systemic change in our country. Why? Because 50% of the homeless, 65% of girls rescued from sex trafficking raids, and 75% of those incarcerated, they all spent time in the foster system.
Like legit, I think the problem that I hear you guys saying is when the agency enrollment happens, like you're on that page.
We have these world-class platforms like Uber and Airbnb. They have created value because they are bringing together multiple sides of the marketplace to do something together. And Care Portal is the same thing for the social sector. And one day I'm sitting in my office and the vision that God gave us was how to connect kids and families in crisis with a church in proximity that wants to help to do the very thing that is so close to his heart, to care for the most vulnerable in our midst.
Care Portal is a platform that connects social service agencies and families in crisis with mobilized faith communities, businesses, and individuals who provide relationship and resource support. Agencies upload details about a family's urgent needs, and then an alert will go out to the network in real time.
They can get a push notification or an email or a text message that says, help prevent a child from entering foster care. And you have just the opportunity to respond and say, I can help with that part. I can go meet that family. I can provide that bed. And the next thing you know, you are connected with that caseworker and that family to engage and make a difference. Before my wife and I got involved in the whole foster care system, I got to be honest, I had some pretty bad perspectives. I thought that the kids who were removed from their parents and put in the foster care system, that they were there because they had bad parents who didn't care about them. And I am so glad that I was wrong.
There's all kinds of reasons that children and families are brought to our attention.
This is Jamie, a social worker who worked for Missouri's Children's Division for 10 years.
I would say that primarily we had a higher number of kids that came to our attention because of concerns for neglect, whether that be emotional neglect, physical neglect, medical neglect, educational neglect. It can be really frustrating to see when families are really trying their hardest but just don't have what they need to take care of their kiddos. Being in poverty and facing housing needs, that can be really isolating, and they don't have a natural support system in place.
Poverty is the thing that can keep people on the edge with no margin, right? So you're a single mom and you're doing the best that you possibly can. And the first time you break, that's when it happens.
She was 1 year old. This was over at Jennifer's house, actually. So we've got Olivia, Melanie, Lucy, and Shiloh.
And what was it like, having 4 children to take care of, but living on your own while working full time?
It felt chaotic. It felt stressful. It was kind of like just always being in like survival mode or like fight or flight mode.
On top of all this, while Alexis was at work, a friend who she trusted to watch her children also physically assaulted her daughter.
They told me that my daughter had been violently physically abused and that The only thing that could reasonably explain her injuries was that she had suffered from blunt force trauma. And I was at home to know what happened. I think your mind goes to, how do I fix this? What do I do? And our lives were just like ripped out from underneath us immediately. Everything that we knew before was no longer. I'm sorry.
That's okay. It's fine.
Alexis's case was particularly difficult to read on a piece of paper. I remember it just being heartbreaking to think about what that family had endured, what those children had gone through.
The only thing that I had any understanding of was that I needed to be separated from my children. It was actually me that reached out to them and had expressed my concerns and made it very apparent that I do my best to provide for these kids, and I'll do whatever it takes to make sure that they return to my care and custody.
In child welfare cases, the state makes a list of requirements to ensure a child's safety, which are uploaded to Care Portal to alert the community response teams. One of Alexis's requirements was for a mentor relationship, and the person who responded was a woman named Jennifer.
I was reading the message and I was like, this is for me. This is the one that I'm called to answer. Alexis's story is my story. The abuse, the family problems, I was like, that's what I went through. And if I could save one person from making the same mistakes that I made and help them be a better parent, I felt like that was it, that I had done exactly what I was called to do. Hey, Olivia, what's up?
I know I have someone that can help guide me through like moments of frustration or confusion or concern. She's been a great support for myself and the children.
How are you? Good. The relationships empower people in ways that they never thought that they were going to be able to be strong. And sometimes it's just giving them love and just loving somebody that hasn't felt love in a long time.
So at the end of the day, what Care Portal is really trying to accomplish is to create meaningful connections whenever possible. Because it's those meaningful connections that change the path of people's lives. And we end up being a far stronger community because of it.
With Jennifer's support, Alexis was able to get her kids back within a year.
The amount of time that it took for my children to come home was the fastest turnaround that they've ever seen.
What was it like, finally going to sleep that night, knowing that your daughters were down the hall or in the house with you, asleep next to you?
Every single one of us was just so happy to finally be reunited with one another. I wouldn't say not a single one of us got out to sleep that night.
Today, Alexis and her children are moving into a permanent home. Jennifer and members of her church response team are helping to prepare that space.
I'm Team Alexis. That's what I am. I'm going to make sure she has the support and love she needs when she needs it. My relationship with Alexis, if I have it my way, will never end.
It's been 6 years since that day, and today I am a teacher. I am a business owner. I also have the support of Jennifer and her entire family.
Care Portal is currently in 30 states and has served over 200,000 kids and their families, and projected to serve over 1 million people in the next 5 years. But Adrian is looking to expand the model outside of foster care to effectively empower more people out of poverty.
The reality is, it's not a lack of resources in our country that is creating poverty. Poverty is a trap, and every citizen has an opportunity to help other people through that trap. We could radically transform the effects of poverty in our country if we create this vast care sharing network where all these folks in the community who are doing their part to empower every human being to care for another in their moments of need.
Stand Together partners with changemakers tackling our biggest challenges. To see more stories, follow our channels. And to learn more about how you can partner with us, go to standtogether.org.
See, those are the things that we need to start reaching out to people who are helping other people. That's what we want to do. Hey, look here. Yeah, I'm gonna get on up out of here. We're going to start talking about this in our live, the Music Recording Network live. Y'all take it light, take it slow. Y'all tell them Uncle Mike told you so. Peace out. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're seeing a trend here. This is not uncommon, unfortunately, of what's going on. And Ada, please, if you have to take a break, we definitely understand that this is very triggering, especially with what's going on with you. I just reached out to a friend of mine that was on last week sometime or the week before, and I've asked her to come in because she literally has gone through what you're going through, and she has agreed to come on, so she might pop in the chat and hopefully have some information as well that you can use to help you through this time, because it is going to be difficult. That's one. It's not going to be easy. It's going to be difficult, but we are here to support you and love you, and to do whatever we can.
Yeah, I just want to say as well, we don't all three of us don't consider this as content. We're not, when it comes to creating content, this isn't content for us. This is a mission. Do you know what I mean? This isn't for entertainment purposes. It's not for anything like that. For us, this is an absolute mission, and we are serious about it. So people like Ada, yourself, my love, we're trying to spread awareness to people that might not know about it. And do you know what I mean? I just don't want people to see this as us trying to make content, because that is not what we are trying to do at all.
I don't care if they think that or not. Anyway, MP, I was in foster care for a decade. It was horrifying. Sorry. Wow, man. It seems to me, as long as you're looking like you're helping people, everybody's satisfied. God dog it. I gotta go to the bathroom again.
It's all right. We'll hold the fort, Mike. Don't worry.
Yeah, this is a problem, another branch on the tree, and I continue to say this, that this is a huge mission. And when I knew, what part of the mission I wanted to serve, I knew that I could not do this by myself, that it was going to take a network of people, and there was all different types of assistance and all different missions that are under this umbrella. One of the reasons, they talked about, parents being in poverty. One of the reasons why, when I had my business, I had an after school and a summer camp program. A lot of parents, like Mike said, they're single parents. They have to work. They can't get off at 2:15 or 3 o'clock when the child gets off. They still have to work till 6 o'clock or 5:30. And so there's a gap in there if they don't have someone to pick up their child or watch their child. And that was the gap that I was filling. Now, for us, for our after school program, we were $40 a week, and there were people that gave so that there were kids that could come and the parents would get a even more of a discount. But $40 a week was nothing compared to what the school, which was the cheapest at the time, was $70 a week. So you just think, if you have 4 kids at $70 a week, that now becomes a huge bill that, a single parent could possibly not afford, and now they have to figure out something else. So what we gave was a safe place that was affordable to where kids could be, and when that parent came, their homework was done, they had their snack, they were ready to just spend time. All that parent had to do was come and spend time with their children. And it wasn't, and people said all the time, Stephanie, you need to raise your price, you need to raise your prices. No, I'm not raising my prices, because it's not about the money, it's about the help. I had 3 children as a widow. I knew that I could not put my children into daycare. It was either you can work and pay all your money to daycare, or you could not work, because either way, that's how it was going to be. And so I wanted to provide something for people that I know that I needed at one time that I didn't have. And so, a lot of times there's a lot of ways that we can help, to move to move these families through. And my business was one of those ways. It wasn't a nonprofit. It didn't get funding from anyone except for the parents that paid $40 a week. And that's what we have to start thinking and saying to ourselves, how can we be a part of the solution? Because all of us can be a part of this solution. All of us can. You know, taking a child because a parent doesn't have the finances that we feel like they should have is unacceptable. Unacceptable.
I couldn't agree more with you, Steph. And you know that me and you pretty much always agree on, on pretty much everything. I just think it's ridiculous. It's unacceptable. And I think that people are put in poverty for a reason, because that reason is becoming more and more apparent. When we look at the status of how many kids in each country are being taken away from their parents who are doing the very best that they can under very, very tight circumstances. And it's like, well, yeah, but they're taking the kids away, but putting them into even worse situations. And it's like, well, how can you explain that? How can you possibly explain that? How can you say that taking a child from the frying pan and putting them in the fire is better?
Yeah, you're right about that. Shout out to MP. MP done gave us a super sticker or chat, whatever you call it. Appreciate it, man.
Thank you, MP.
Yeah, this is definitely gonna help, man. Help the cause and everything. I'm 67 years old. Oh, look, he's saying he's wow. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, we took me decades to recover.
That's what I love about this community as well. We've got people of all ages. Do you know what I mean? It's not just like one kind of category of people. We've got people of all ages that are all saying that they've got their own stories to tell, and that's what's most heartening about this community for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's amazing, man. Appreciate you. Uh-oh.
Yep.
Somebody else is dropping
Oh
it
my
like it's
goodness,
hot.
Positive P. Thank you,
Positive
Positive
P.
P.
Positive P thinks she's slick. She don't want to go upstairs, so she's gonna go ahead and drop that super chat. What's up, girl? How you doing? Thank you so much. Thank you so much, man. You guys are helping make me great cry. Yeah. Oh, wrong. Okay, we got ready for the next comedian. Appreciate it, Positive P. Most definitely. I think Stephanie got one more video we get ready to drop.
There should be
Mhm.
2 more at least.
Oh, okay. Well.
Just before
Which one did you
just before you drop that, Mike, thank you so much for the super stickers. But if you really want to make an impact and put towards the funds and stuff that we're trying to raise, then please consider using either PayPal or Cash App, because with the super stickers, as much as we really do appreciate them, YouTube takes 40% of those super stickers, so we don't get all of the money. So when we drop the PayPals and Cash Apps in the side chat, that money will go the full amount will go directly towards the cause. Whereas the super stickers, YouTube takes 40% of whatever you send.
Yeah, I think PayPal probably takes about 3% compared to 30 or 40%. That's crazy.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't. If you send it as friends and family, you get the whole amount.
Oh, okay.
They don't take anything. It's only if you send it as a business that money will get taken off. If you send it through PayPal as friends and family, then you can directly get the whole amount that's been sent.
Yeah. Okay. Dragon X just put up the Mike's PayPal and everything, but we appreciate, if you want to do a super sticker, we still appreciate it.
Yeah. No, of course. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, then. Check this out. Without a doubt, let's see what it's all about. unfounded, mostly go unfounded. Okay. What is up, YouTube? We are back on the live side again. We are having a lot of videos that we're doing today, baby. Love it. Love it. Dang it, Nancy's in the chat room. Carla's in the chat room. Cookie's in the chat room. The other Steph is in the chat room. Other Steph. Sometimes I send people upstairs. Other Steph, go upstairs. We have fun, man. We have fun. And hey, child abuse claims mostly go unfounded in foster care. Yeah, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell. Let's check this bad boy out, man. We are helping.
They were cries for help that never came. Tonight, the gripping stories of children who fought to survive inside DCFS, the Illinois Department of Children and Family Services.
In this 3-year-long investigation, Dave Savini and the CBS 2 investigators uncovered stunning data exposing how the agency's own investigators cleared alleged child abusers nearly all of the time.
First thing, I noticed you've had a lot of hairdos over the years.
Yeah, I know.
On the surface, Kaylin Brown seems happy.
I cut my hair, grew it back, cut it again.
I think the last time I saw you, it was purple.
Yeah. Yeah.
A loving mother of 2 kids.
Count and breathe.
1, 2, 3.
Now hopes her darkest days are behind her.
No child should go through that. That's why I keep my kids close to me.
And you were 5.
Yeah.
Sexually assaulted when she was just 5, the same age as Kayla Rose, her oldest daughter.
It's not common for kids to catch an STD as young as I did, but that's the first time I caught my STD when I was 5.
Kaylin remembers at least 17 different foster homes and facilities and years of physical, mental, and sexual abuse in a child welfare system that was supposed to protect her.
All my life, nobody really wanted me.
She was still in the system when we first met her 3 years ago.
I was abused my whole entire life.
This is a gathering of 14 now adults.
I was in 30 within a year.
30 different homes.
Yes.
Sharing stories of horror as children.
And how old were you when you went into the system? 3.
14 survivors no longer silenced by the fear of retribution and abuse.
How young were you when you were first abused?
Probably 12.
I've been neglected. All of them placed in foster care in the custody of DCFS, the Illinois Department of Children and Family Services.
I've been physically, sexually, mentally abused.
The agency's failure leaving each their own painful path of recovery.
I was physically and emotionally abused. I was like beaten.
And when it comes to Kaylin, she's still trying to pull through the wreckage.
And you're homeless now, living in a shelter. And how old again are you?
I'm 19.
Another time that haunts her as a child is when 2 adult males from one of her foster families stole the Girl Scout cookie money she raised.
All of it. I had like over $600 that I sold for cookies.
And you were hoping to get a prize?
Yes.
Like what could you have won?
It was basically like this big like bicycle at the time.
After accusing the men, she says, to teach her a lesson, she was beaten and assaulted again.
I would say like I was raped like at least 3 to 4 times.
She says there were trips to the hospital, rape kits, and cries for help at school, but DCFS left her in abusive homes.
How many of you suffered abuse in foster homes?
Perhaps more twisted, these survivors say when they reported abuse, they were ignored, and the disturbing proof may be found here. Inside this DCFS database, after a long battle, the CBS 2 investigators obtained 5 years of abuse records. Every child has an 8-digit ID number. Line by line, row after row, cries for help. And our meticulous analysis uncovers a deeply troubling pattern. When a DCFS child is allegedly abused 9 out of 10 times, it is unfounded.
The department has a history of not believing the kids.
James McIntyre says his allegations also were not believed. He still suffers from the trauma.
I was sexually abused. I was neglected. I was starved.
He now helps DCFS survivors and heads the Foster Care Alumni Association of Illinois, which includes these 14.
Foster kids make the best victims.
The data the CBS2 investigators obtained contains more than 6,000 abuse and neglect allegations made against 3,200 foster parents. And while nearly 90% of all allegations go unfounded, sexual offense allegations, including sex abuse risk, molestation, penetration, and exploitation, are also unfounded 88% of the time.
We respond to kids who've been abused.
Mark Smith has been director of DCFS since 2019.
I think that depending on the circumstance, we can all get better at the way we respond to the needs of all of our children and families.
The most common form of abuse in the DCFS data involves physical harm and neglect allegations like bone fractures, head injuries, burns, and torture. In a staggering number of these incidents, 91% unfounded by DCFS investigators.
In this entire group, nobody's abuser was ever charged with a crime.
I can't speak to if any individual case was brought to the police or not, but I will say this, depending on the circumstance, depending on the perpetrator, cases are brought to the police from the DCFS perspective.
We wanted to know how often
Man, dude, you sound like you lying. You sound like you know good and well some of them cases should have been deeper looked into.
DCFS alerts police of allegations against foster parents, but they couldn't give us the data. They don't track it.
Did any of your abusers get convicted?
No. Mine went on to actually work with children.
If you're going to take, youth from their parents, you need to protect them.
Mallory Stout says she was placed into DCFS protective care when she was only 4. But once inside the system, the abuse just continued.
There's no reason why we should be receiving more abuse within the system than we receive within our own home.
Bad things happen in this system. And
Jess McDonald is a former DCFS director who held the post for 10 years.
90% of all allegations made by youth in care go unfounded.
Wow.
Too often, DCFS kids are afraid to report the extent of their abuse.
Allegations made by.
That's all you got to say is wow.
That we receive within our own home.
Bad things happen in this system. And
Jess McDonald is a former DCFS director who held the post for 10 years.
90% of all allegations made by youth in care go unfounded.
Wow.
Too often, DCFS kids are afraid to report the extent of their abuse.
If you're in a foster care setting, and there is always going to be a fear of reporting abuse because the potential for retaliation.
He says there's a DCFS rule requiring caseworkers conduct interviews with children alone without foster parents present.
I personally believe they would threaten and intimidate children and youth about reporting. And they would do it because they themselves are then at risk.
They would interview you in front of them? They would talk to you in front of them?
Yes,
but these 14 say that rule is almost never followed.
The whole time you telling them what's going on, your foster parent is just looking at you like, I can't wait until you get home so I could talk to you.
Kaylin says one foster parent even tore up the only picture she had left of her dad, who died when she was just a child, as a form of retribution for speaking up.
My caseworker didn't really care.
Do you feel like there's hope?
There is, baby. Don't ever lose hope.
Amen.
That's all you got most of the time.
3 years after that group interview, we found Kaylin living on her own with her children. We will be doing more stories with this group. They want to fix the system. DCFS says since 2020, things have gotten better, saying recurrent cases of maltreatment have decreased. Dave Savini, CBS 2 Investigators.
I think that things have gotten better because a lot of people are getting their news now from YouTube and not the news, because the news be sugarcoating and covering this stuff up.
Yeah, when was the last time we saw anything about Diddy on the news?
Yeah, you got that right. In fact, when was the last time I even watched the news? I don't even watch the news, but my mother watches it faithfully.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I think more of the younger generation is into getting their information from YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. So
I wouldn't even say, Mike, there's the younger generation. I think it's the people whose eyes have been opened that realize that the mainstream media.
Well, we part of the younger generation too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Of course. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, guys, I'm gonna get on up out of here. Hey, y'all put in the comments what y'all think. Y'all take a light, take a slow. Tell them Uncle Mike told you so. Peace out. Yeah. Oh my gracious. I got a splitting headache, but hey, we're gonna make it happen. So you say you got one more after this or something?
Yeah, I think Steph's on the phone.
1, 2, we did that one. Did we do this one?
It's the one that says about beat CPS in the first visit, something like that.
So just whilst Mike's finding that, so Ada has said that she does want to come on and speak about her story, and when she does, after this video, hopefully, if she's found a way to charge her phone,
Fighting child abuse services. Yeah, it is 4 of them up here. I don't know which one I did.
It's the second one that the one that you had first clicked on and I said not yet. It's the second one from the top that I had sent. Probably the 4th one from the bottom, I think.
Oh,
he's already confused enough.
I know. I'm trying to give him directions on both ones, but I'm trying to finish this email real quick. I'm sorry. I apologize.
The first video that you clicked on is what she's saying. Is that what you're saying, Steph?
Yeah, the first one you clicked on with the guy that was standing there. It says, I can't click on it right now because I can't see it. Okay. All right, let me go back to see what it says. It
okay.
says,
This one here. Wait a minute. I think I got it.
I apologize, guys. I had to answer this email. This is from Ada. I'm waiting. It hasn't loaded on my side yet. Yes.
Okay. What is up, YouTube? Fighting Child Protective Services, CPS, to get your child back. How to win the first trial. How to win to get your child back. Yeah, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell. This is coming from our live channel, the Music Recording Network Live, where we discuss a whole lot of good stuff. So go on over to the Music Recording Network Live, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell, and join us in the chat. Without any further ado, let's check this bad boy out.
Visited by a caseworker who declared that your children are no longer safe in your care. She took your children with her, and she gave you some paperwork about a court date. You're terrified as to what's going to happen at this court date. You don't want to lose your children forever, and you're afraid as to what's going to happen at this hearing. What are you supposed to do? This may sound like I'm asking you not to breathe, but this is a very important first step. You may not believe me, but panicking and getting stressed out will not help your case whatsoever. If it did, I would tell you to start panicking even more just for good measure. Right now, your children are relying on you to keep a level head because they need you thinking clearly now more than ever. The Texas Department of Family and Protective Services, also known as CPS, has the upper hand. And if you want to get your children back, you're gonna have to stay calm. The first thing you need to understand is your right to an attorney. You have the right to represent yourself, and you're not required to be represented by an attorney, but I highly advise against this. In case you didn't know, you have the right to a court-appointed attorney in nearly all CPS cases in Texas. If you haven't read our blog on getting a court-appointed attorney, I highly recommend you take the time to go and do that. We'll put the link in our description. The second thing you need to understand is that you have certain rights when CPS is attempting to interrogate you. These include the right to refuse to take a drug test, the right to refuse a search of your home, even the right to remain silent. If you haven't read our blog on fighting CPS interrogations, I highly recommend that you take the time to read that. We'll put that link in the description as well. As a parent, you have a fundamental right, which is protected by the U.S. Constitution, to make decisions concerning the custody, care, and control of your children. Do not be intimidated by CPS and allow them to trample on your rights that they are statutorily prohibited from violating. The law says that a state agency may not adopt any rules or policies or take any other action that violates the fundamental right and duty of a parent to direct the upbringing of the parent's child. The adversary hearing is the first real hearing after the children have been taken into possession by the governmental entity, being CPS. And this hearing is required to be held within 14 days of the children being removed from the home. Before the adversary hearing begins, the court is required to inform you of your right to be represented by an attorney. And if you are indigent, the court must inform you of your right to have an attorney appointed to represent you. If the court appoints an attorney to represent you, then this hearing can be postponed for up to 7 days to allow your newly appointed attorney time to prepare. Well, I'm going to go ahead and give away the ending of the story first. At the conclusion of the hearing, the court shall return the children to your home unless the court makes some very specific findings. Under the law, the word shall is a very powerful word. It means must or no choice. Lawmakers do not use that word lightly, which is important for you to understand because the judge shall return the children to your home regardless of his or her personal feelings about you. CPS has the burden of proof at the adversary hearing. The purpose of this hearing is not for you to prove that you deserve to get your children back. The purpose of the hearing is for CPS to meet their burden and prove that there would be a continuing danger to the children if they were returned home to you. Remember, the judge shall return the children to your home unless the court finds that there was a danger to the physical health or safety of the child, which was caused by an act or failure to act of the person entitled to possession, and for the child to remain in the home is contrary to the welfare of the child. 2, the urgent need for protection required the immediate removal of the child, and reasonable efforts consistent with the circumstances and providing for the safety of the child were made to eliminate or prevent the child's removal. And reasonable efforts have been made to enable the child to return home, but there is a substantial risk of continuing danger if the child is returned home. You see, it's not enough for CPS to prove that there was some sort of danger to the children while they were in your care, but that they have made efforts to prevent the removal of the child from your home. Additionally, CPS must show that they have made reasonable efforts to return the children to your home, but that there is a substantial risk of continuing danger if the children are returned home. You see, CPS routinely fails on points 2 and 3, and they routinely fail to offer any evidence that they attempted to keep the child in the home in the first place. Document, document, document. It's very important for you to keep a very detailed journal as to every interaction that you have with CPS. Remember, it's going to be very difficult for you to remember exactly what was said several weeks later whenever you finally appear for the hearing. You should be recording as well. Every single interaction that you have with CPS should be recorded. Use your cell phone and record video or just record audio, but make sure that you record everything. This might come as a surprise, but sometimes CPS caseworkers lie. It's legal for you to record CPS in Texas because Texas is a one-party consent state. That means that just one party to the conversation has to consent to the recording. If you are a party to the conversation, then you can consent to recording the conversation. You should.
Wow, that's interesting to know. Never heard of that one.
That means that one party to the conversation has to consent to the recording. If you are a party to the conversation, then you can consent to recording the conversation. You should point blank ask the CPS investigator every single step that's required of you to enable the children to return home at the CPS adversary hearing. If at that hearing the judge hears that CPS placed unreasonable demands upon you, then they obviously aren't complying with the statute. We appreciate you watching our video. If you know someone who's going through a CPS case, be sure to share this video with them so that way they have the benefit of the knowledge. Be sure to subscribe to our channel and check out some of the other videos that we published. You can also find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. See you later.
All right. That's very interesting right there. What y'all think?
Yeah, so I knew about the one party thing because me and Maggie spoke about it on her channel, and I can't remember his name now, but another.
Do they have anything like that in UK?
The one-party consent. No, over here there is not such a thing as one-party consent. It's illegal. I believe. I need to look more into it, but I believe that you need consent from both parties to be able to record. And well, not to be able to record. It's not the recording part of it, but to be able to use it as evidence.
Know that there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. That's crazy. All right. Well, look here, y'all. We're gonna get on up out of here. Hey, y'all, take it light, take it slow. Tell them Uncle Mike told you so. Peace out. I just pulled up another video if y'all want to. Inside the billionaire security life of Beyonce. This thing 21 minutes long.
Yeah, go for it, man.
Okay. What is up? What is up, YouTube? We are dropping videos like they hot, baby. Check it out. Inside the billionaire security life of Beyonce. Now, y'all know Beyonce and that blue-eyed. I know everybody done heard by now. They don't think Beyonce is the mother. And they also think that she was faking the baby bump. So we got a couple of videos up there about the baby bump and everything. So, hey, y'all hit that subscribe button. Hit that bell. This is coming off the Music Recording Network live channel. This is our live channel, y'all. So y'all hit that bell. Go over there and subscribe to our live, the Music Recording Network live, and let's check it out.
And to know that there are women around the world that don't have a voice.
We chose to fight for our love, for our family, to give our kids a different outcome.
All behind the glittering aura of global fame lies a world of mystery, power, and luxury. Beyonce, Queen Bey, is a music icon. From lavish vacations on multi-million-dollar yachts to the internet-shaking Diddy allegations. Let's explore 8 interesting facts about Beyonce, the last of which will surprise you. Beyonce's record-breaking legacy. Beyonce was ranked 36th on Forbes' list of power women last year, and at no. 45 on this year's list of America's wealthiest self-made women, with a net worth of $760 million. Is a global icon whose career is marked by unparalleled achievements, including a record 32 Grammy Awards, over 590 accolades, and critical acclaim for her roles in Dreamgirls and The Lion King. Beyond her artistic success, Beyoncé and Jay-Z are philanthropic powerhouses. Beyoncé's Bay Good Foundation has raised funds for disaster relief, gender equality, and education, while her $4 million donation to Phoenix House and $7 million investment in housing for Houston's homeless showcase her commitment to social impact. Together they inspired change, proving their legacy extends far beyond entertainment. From dominating the music charts to becoming a cultural phenomenon, Beyoncé's rise to global stardom is nothing short of extraordinary. But how did it all begin? Let's rewind to the incredible journey of Queen Bey. From Houston to global icon Beyoncé's rise. Born in 1981 in Houston, Texas, Beyoncé has become one of the most influential figures in the history of pop music. Starting her journey as a young girl singing in church choirs and competing in local talent shows, Beyoncé quickly rose to stardom. Her breakthrough came as a member of the legendary girl group Destiny's Child, delivering chart-topping hits like Bills, 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 Independent Women, and Survivor. But Beyoncé's ambitions went far beyond being part of a group. In 1999, while still with Destiny's Child, she began her solo career, showcasing her extraordinary talent and cementing her place as a force to be reckoned with. As a solo artist, Beyoncé has given the world anthems like Halo, Single Ladies, and Drunken Love, songs that have defined a generation. Her unmatched career has earned her over 590 awards, including a staggering 32 Grammys, making her the most Grammy-nominated woman of all time. These accolades reflect her unrelenting drive, immense talent, and influence that transcends music. Always evolving, Beyoncé has consistently reinvented herself. Her recent albums, Renaissance and Cowboy Carter, showcase her ability to embrace new genres, from dance beats to experimental sounds, keeping her fans captivated while redefining the music industry. From dominating the charts with Destiny's Child to building an unmatched empire as a solo artist, Beyoncé has inspired millions around the world. Her ability to innovate and stay ahead of the curve has solidified her status as not just a pop star but a cultural phenomenon. Comment Beyoncé if you like her. Beyoncé speaks out amid global scandal. They often seen as an unshakable power couple, are now at the center of a legal battle with far-reaching implications. For a celebrity couple like Beyoncé and Jay-Z, caught in the spotlight of the Diddy scandal, the stakes extend far beyond the personal consequences. The consequences will certainly affect their reputations, their careers, and even the broader dynamics of celebrity culture. Beyoncé's global backlash following conspiracy theories and allegations connecting her and Jay-Z to the legal troubles of Sean Diddy Combs. Accusations have surfaced, suggesting the couple's involvement in a secretive group that allegedly eliminates industry rivals and connects them to introducing Justin Bieber to Diddy. Beyoncé broke her silence by threatening legal action against those spreading unverified rumors. Despite the retraction, Beyoncé's reportedly lost around 5 million followers as part of a boycott fueled by ongoing theories linking her, Jay-Z, and Diddy to a clandestine organization allegedly behind the downfall of several artists in the music industry. While the rumors and controversies might make headlines, they barely scratch the surface of Beyoncé's incredible journey.
You know what? That reminds me of when Jaguar was saying that she's losing millions of subscribers and she ain't saying anything about it. And I was like, because everybody say Jaguar lying, but this guy just said the same thing. So shout out to Jaguar.
A love story of triumph, challenges. Beyoncé and Jay-Z, one of America's most beloved power couples, have a love story that has captivated fans for decades. Their journey began in the early 2000s and quickly evolved into a legendary partnership, with iconic milestones like the Grammy-winning hit Crazy in Love. Jay-Z and Beyoncé's relationship has been a roller coaster of love, challenges, and redemption, capturing global attention at every turn. Jay-Z openly admitted to infidelity during an interview with the New York Times Style, detailing the pain it caused and the therapy that helped them heal. Beyoncé's Lemonade album addressed Jay-Z's infidelity with raw and emotional lyrics, fueling rumors of a possible split. Tracks like Don't Hurt Yourself and Pray You Catch Maine were seen as direct references to the betrayal. Earlier in 2014, the infamous Met Gala elevator incident, where Beyoncé's sister Solange was caught on video confronting Jay-Z, further ignited speculation about his unfaithfulness. Days later, the trio released a statement acknowledging the incident and emphasizing their unity as a family. Every family has problems, they stated, urging others to move forward as they did. Beyoncé-Z scandal rocks their $2.6 billion marriage. Once celebrated as the ultimate power couple, Beyoncé and Jay-Z now find themselves embroiled in a web of controversy and speculation that could tarnish their carefully curated image. Beyoncé and Jay-Z are under intense scrutiny as rumors swirl about cracks in their $2.6 billion marriage. According to the accusations, Jay-Z was allegedly involved in a heinous act at a 2000 MTV Video Music Awards after party hosted by Diddy. The claims, which have been vehemently denied by Jay-Z, have not only damaged his reputation but have reportedly caused significant emotional strain on their family, including their 3 children Blue Ivy, 12, and twins Rumi and Sir, aged 7. The couple's history is riddled with controversies that cast a shadow over their seemingly flawless partnership. In 2014, the infamous Met Gala elevator incident exposed underlying tensions when Beyoncé's sister Solange was caught on video physically attacking Jay-Z, while Beyoncé stood by without intervening. While the trio later released a statement downplaying the altercation, rumors swirled that Solange's actions were in retaliation to Jay-Z's infidelity, a claim that only fueled public speculation about his unfaithful behavior. Adding to the fire, Jay-Z publicly admitted to cheating on Beyoncé in a 2017 interview, a revelation that many saw as a breaking point in their relationship. Beyoncé addressed the betrayal through her critically acclaimed album Lemonade, with tracks like Don't Hurt Yourself and Pray You Catch Maine. delivering raw and unfiltered emotions about betrayal and heartbreak. While the album became a cultural phenomenon, it also painted a picture of a fractured marriage, leaving fans to wonder if their reconciliation was truly genuine or merely a business move to preserve their brand. Critics have also pointed to Beyoncé's recent efforts to showcase a united front as overly staged and insincere. The glamorous red carpet appearances and curated Instagram posts can't hide the fact that their relationship has faced enormous strain, an insider noted. Some fans have accused the couple of prioritizing their public image over their personal happiness, with whispers that their marriage has devolved into little more than a business arrangement. As these allegations and whispers continue to swirl, the public is left questioning the foundation of the Carters' relationship. Are they truly partners in love, or have they become prisoners of their own empire, unwilling to let go of the image they've built? Beyoncé's billion-dollar business empire. Beyoncé is far more than a music icon. She's a business powerhouse with a billion-dollar empire built on creativity, branding, and innovation. One of her latest ventures, Sir Davis, is a wine brand named after her great-grandfather. Sir Davis could bring Beyoncé even closer to billionaire status if it takes off like other celebrity alcohol brands, including those of her husband, billionaire Jay-Z. He is estimated to have made $300 million selling half of his luxury champagne brand Ace of Spades to LVMH in 2021 and $750 million selling a majority of his stake in DUSE Cognac to Bacardi. Her business prowess doesn't stop there. Beyoncé founded Parkwood Entertainment, a company and record label that not only manages her music and tours but also supports other artists. In the fragrance world, Beyoncé has achieved staggering success. Her limited edition fragrance Beyoncé launched during one of her tours and reportedly grossed $400 million. Meanwhile, partnerships like True Star Perfume with Tommy Hilfiger and her latest luxury fragrance, Ciamir, priced at $160, continue to solidify her dominance in the beauty industry. Beyoncé's flair for fashion has also led to lucrative collaborations. After her iconic Coachella performance in 2018, she teamed up with Balmain to release a collection inspired by her stage outfits, creating a must-have line for fans. Her athleisure brand, Ivy Park, in collaboration with Adidas, is another smashing success, regularly highlighted to her 300 million Instagram followers and flying off shelves with every drop. Her influence has made her a top choice for major endorsement deals. In 2012, she signed a $50 million partnership with Pepsi, solidifying a long-lasting collaboration. She's also worked with global brands like L'Oréal Paris, Samsung, HM, and Nintendo DS, proving her marketability transcends industries. Beyoncé has mastered the art of creating exclusivity, releasing limited edition products, and collaborating with luxury brands to drive demand. Whether it's fragrances, wine, or fashion, her empire is built on a blend of artistry, business acumen, and unmatched influence. Queen Bey's $100 million tour. Beyoncé is more than just a global superstar. She's a force of nature whose talent, drive, and relentless work ethic have made her one of the wealthiest and most influential figures in the entertainment industry. From her early days in Destiny's Child to her record-breaking solo career, Beyoncé sold over 180 million albums worldwide, cementing her legacy as a music icon. Her live performances are nothing short of legendary, with tours like the Formation World Tour in 2016 grossing an incredible $256 million from just 49 shows. In 2018, she and her husband Jay-Z took the world by storm with the On the Run I tour, earning $253 million from 48 electrifying performances. Most recently, Beyoncé shattered records with her Renaissance World Tour, grossing $179 million in just 1 month and an astonishing $579 million overall, selling 2.7 million tickets worldwide. And her success doesn't stop at music. Beyoncé has also conquered Hollywood with standout roles in films like Dreamgirls, which earned her $12.5 million plus millions more from the soundtrack. In 2019, she lent her voice to Nala in Disney's The Lion King, a project that included producing the soundtrack and delivering the Grammy-nominated hit Spirit, reportedly netting her over $20 million. Beyoncé's storytelling prowess shines in her autobiographical documentary Life is But a Dream, which she wrote, directed, and starred in, showcasing her creativity beyond music and acting. A digital powerhouse, Beyoncé's YouTube channel has amassed over 19 billion views, generating significant revenue and further expanding her reach. According to Forbes, Beyoncé earned $81 million in 2019 alone, thanks to her diverse ventures spanning music, film, and business. Her net worth today is estimated at a staggering $600 million, and together with Jay-Z, their combined fortune soars to $3 billion, making them one of the wealthiest and most powerful couples in the world. From chart-topping hits to blockbuster films and groundbreaking tours, Beyoncé's built an empire that goes far beyond music. Let's dive into the extraordinary world of luxury she and Jay-Z have built, starting with their breathtaking real estate empire. Inside Beyoncé's $300 M mansion empire, Beyoncé and Jay-Z live a lifestyle that redefines luxury, with a real estate portfolio valued at an astonishing $300 million. As one of the world's richest and most powerful couples, they own some of the most breathtaking and expensive properties in the United States. Among their most prized assets is their Hamptons retreat, known as the Pond House. This $26 million getaway spans 2 acres of pristine forest with private access to Georgia Pond. In Los Angeles, their $88 million Bel Air mansion sets the standard for modern grandeur. Outside, the home features 4 swimming pools, a basketball court, and a garage large enough to house 15 luxury cars. This property isn't just a residence, it's a symbol of power, sophistication, and prestige. Their most extravagant purchase yet is their $200 million architectural masterpiece in Malibu, California, making it one of the most expensive homes ever sold in the U.S. Spanning 40,000 square feet on a 5-acre lot, this minimalist concrete structure is a marvel of modern design. It offers breathtaking ocean views, expansive green spaces, and a pool that mirrors the sky, making it a true work of art. Beyoncé's private jet flying in ultimate luxury. As one of the most iconic global superstars, Beyoncé's life is nothing short of extraordinary, and her taste for luxury reflects her unmatched success. Among her most extravagant purchases is a $40 million Bombardier Challenger 850 private jet gifted to her husband Jay-Z. This flying palace combines sleek design, unparalleled comfort, and advanced technology, making it the ultimate symbol of their opulent lifestyle. Known as the largest medium-sized business jet, the Bombardier Challenger 850 is more than just transportation, it's a haven of luxury in the sky. With a capacity to seat up to 19 passengers, this jet is perfect for Beyoncé, their children, and VIP guests. Its range allows for seamless long-haul travel, capable of flying from Europe to Asia without refueling. Luxury car fleet. The power couple has amassed an extraordinary fleet of vehicles that are as rare as they are extravagant, reflecting their unmatched status as global icons. Another staple in their lineup is Beyoncé's Cadillac Escalade Platinum, a spacious and stylish SUV priced at over $120,000, ideal for blending sophistication with everyday utility. But their collection goes far beyond practicality. It features some of the rarest and most exotic cars in the world. Among their prized vehicles is the ultra-rare Lamborghini LM002, nicknamed the Rambo Lambo, valued at $400,000. Also in their garage is a Mercedes-Benz McLaren SLR, a limited edition collaboration between British and German automakers worth up to $745,000. In return, Beyoncé gifted Jay-Z a Bugatti Veyron, one of the fastest cars in the world, with a price tag of $1.9 million. Their collection reaches the pinnacle of opulence with vehicles like the Pagani Zonda F, a supercar so rare that only 25 units exist, valued at $2.3 million. However, the crown jewel of their fleet is undoubtedly the Rolls-Royce boat tail. This custom-built masterpiece, with only 3 units in existence, is valued at a staggering $28 million, making it one of the most expensive cars in the world. Extravagant gifts. Beyoncé's $70 million art collection Beyonce and Jay-Z are the ultimate power couple, and their lives are a masterclass in luxury, love, and creativity. From breathtaking gifts to an art collection worth millions, their story goes far beyond music and fame. For Jay-Z's 43rd birthday, Beyonce presented him with a jaw-dropping $5 million Hublot watch, encrusted with diamonds, a statement piece that perfectly symbolizes their extravagant lifestyle. But Beyonce isn't the only one giving iconic gifts. In 2010, Jay-Z reportedly surprised her with a private island in the Florida Keys, a $20 million tropical paradise offering unmatched seclusion and luxury for the couple to escape the spotlight. Beyonce's generosity and flair for luxury don't stop there. Even her eldest daughter, Blue Ivy, enjoys a life of unparalleled elegance. At just a young age, Blue carried a $2,500 Gucci bag to the 2017 Grammys and dazzled at the MTV Video Music Awards in a custom Swarovski-encrusted dress worth $111,000. For her birthday, she received a diamond-encrusted Barbie doll valued at $80,000, proving that the Knowles-Carter family spares no expense when it comes to celebrating in style. Beyonce herself is no stranger to dazzling extravagance, with a jewelry collection that includes a $600,000 Rolex Rainbow Daytona and the exquisite $1.3 million Richard Mille RM0702 Lady Sapphire watch, each piece a reflection of her impeccable taste. Their passion for fine art takes their lifestyle to an entirely new level. With an estimated $70 million art collection, they own some of the most sought-after pieces in the world.
Wow.
Among their prized acquisitions is Equals Pie, a striking piece purchased for $253,000, and Mecca by Jean-Michel Basquiat, a masterpiece that set them back a staggering $4.5 million. Their investments in art not only showcase their refined taste but also cement their legacy as patrons of culture and creativity. Beyoncé's $2 million M Yacht Vacation Extravaganza. When it comes to traveling in ultimate style, Beyoncé knows no limits. In 2020, the global icon and her family embarked on an unforgettable vacation in Croatia, chartering the breathtaking superyacht Lana. This 107-meter floating palace redefines opulence, providing an unparalleled experience on the high seas. The Lana is a masterpiece of luxury, accommodating up to 12 guests in 8 lavish cabins, while also hosting up to 31 passengers in total. Its amenities are nothing short of extraordinary, featuring a 9-meter heated swimming pool, a state-of-the-art spa with a steam room, Turkish bath, and massage room, as well as a private cinema for entertainment at sea. For the ultimate convenience, the yacht even boasts an impressive helipad, allowing seamless arrivals and departures in true celebrity fashion. To enjoy a week aboard this floating sanctuary, Beyoncé and Jay-Z reportedly shelled out an astonishing $2 million. This jaw-dropping vacation highlights Beyoncé's penchant for exclusivity and her ability to indulge in life's most extraordinary experiences, creating memories that are as grand as her career. What do you find most impressive about Beyoncé? Let me know what you think in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. Like this video, subscribe so you never miss a new story about the world's most fascinating people. Thanks for watching.
The most impressive thing to me is two people have all that money, and there are people around the world that's poor and can't even feed their kids.
Sickening.
He can stop the daggone child abuse.
Absolutely sickening. And so they can spend $2 million on going on a holiday, but she only gives $2.5 million to the wildfire fund.
Right. And then that $5 million watch and the cars. Golly, that's ridiculous. I mean, hey, if that's what you want to do, I feel you. Oh, I should have been did this. But people need help in this world, man. And I think that it wouldn't hurt them to do at least $10 or $20 million, let's say 10 apiece, $20 million help fund to help some people. Golly. Look here, I'm gonna get on up out of here. Y'all tell me what y'all think. Should Jay-Z's use some of that money to start helping people, especially the ones that's unfortunate. Y'all take it light, take it slow. Tell them Uncle Mike told you so. Peace out.
Right. So now we can get into it. So allegedly, it's been said, right, that that Shmezi, because I refuse to say his name,
okay,
and Bouncy, they have a stake in the Olympics and the 2028 Olympics, right? So two of their both properties that were mentioned on that video that we just watched have allegedly been burnt down in the fires, and it's all to do with a proposed new train line that is being built, and these kind of properties were in the way, so they were allegedly offered money by the committee for these properties to disappear, and also they're going to have insurance on those properties. How much are they going to get from the insurance? Probably more than the house would sell for. Do you know what I mean? So, and again, I'm saying allegedly. I don't know. I'm before anybody jumps on me, I'm saying that this is a theory. It's just a theory that I've heard. And if they're trying to get into that billionaire status, which collectively they're already billionaires, but I'm saying if Bouncy is, trying to get into that billionaire status all by herself, then you know what I mean. It's if you look at the pattern of the fires, and me and Steph have talked about this, and we've shown stuff, we've shown pictures, and I can. I think me and you spoke about it as well, about the pattern of the fires and where this proposed train line is for the 2028 California Olympics. You will see it's in exact alignment.
I'm looking at this, even though
In every town,
this is sheriff affair with 17-year-old black teen girl leads to pregnancy and grisly murder. Might be a little too hard for our people. What you think?
What happened now?
You frozen. You still look like you look. Yeah,
am I frozen? Let me go out and come back.
She said, "What happened now?" I am so sleepy, y'all, but I'm trying my best. I was like, I gotta do it.
Mike, do what you got to do, man. You've got a big trip coming up.
Yeah, and when I get on that plane,
how many days have we got? How many days have we got left, Mike?
3, baby, 3.
3 days. You've got to be excited, mate.
Yeah. Red Bull. Get rest, Mike. Yeah, I'm sitting here. Tomorrow morning, I'm gonna get up and charge all batteries. If it's a battery, I should start doing that now. Charge all the batteries. Yeah, homie.
What are we going to do when you're on the day that you go to the Philippines? Do you still want me and Steph to come on and do a show, or do you want?
Sure, why not? Sure,
yeah.
Why not? If y'all can, yeah.
We want to keep things going, man. We just want to know what you want us to do.
Yeah, I said yeah.
No, I know you said yeah.
You go ahead aboard. Stay off before you go aboard. Shoot, nah, baby. I'm gonna come back a changed man. When I get back, I'm gonna be a changed man. All right, what is up, YouTube? While we wait on Stephanie to come back, sheriff affair with a 17-year-old black teen girl leads to pregnancy and grisly murder. What? Oh my gracious! Y'all hit that subscribe button, man. Hit that bell. That's a long video, so let's check.
In every town, there's always someone you trust without question, a figure of authority, someone you believe will always do what's right. But what happens when that trust is misplaced? What happens when the line between protector and predator is crossed?
Can't see the video,
In
Mike.
this quiet, familiar community, nothing seemed out of the ordinary. Children played in the streets, neighbors exchanged friendly waves, and life moved at its usual pace. But beneath the surface of routine life, something was unfolding, something that would leave the town reeling. What do you do when the person everyone looks up to, the one sworn to serve and protect, has something to hide? At first, nothing seemed out of place. He was a sheriff, a father, a husband. She was a bright young girl with her whole life ahead of her. Their paths crossed like so many others in this small town. But somewhere along the way, something changed. Conversations that started casually became longer. Private moments, once innocent, turned into something much more complicated. And before anyone knew it, the line had been crossed. A line that could never be uncrossed. How does a community come to terms with the realization that the person they trusted the most is capable of the unimaginable? Some say every crime leaves a trail, no matter how carefully it's covered. But what happens when the one leading the search is the very person who knows exactly where that trail ends? Sheriff Clayton Marshall was more than just a man in uniform. He was the foundation of this town, trusted by neighbors, respected by colleagues, and admired by his family. To most, Clayton was a man who balanced the pressures of law enforcement with the responsibilities of being a husband and father. Married to Sharon, with 2 daughters, he lived the life others aspired to, seamlessly juggling work and family. His younger daughter, Ella, adored him. To Ella, her father wasn't just the sheriff. He was her hero, the rock of their family. Clayton's second daughter had a best friend, Monique Ellis. Monique had spent much of her childhood in the Marshall household. She and Ella were inseparable, the kind of friends who didn't knock before entering each other's homes. Monique was practically family. Their friendship stretched back as far as anyone could remember, from playing in the backyard as toddlers to late-night study sessions in high school. Wherever Ella was, Monique wasn't far behind. But Monique wasn't just Ella's best friend. She was the daughter of Officer Jerome Ellis, a deputy who had served under Clayton for years.
Okay.
Jerome and Clayton shared more than a professional relationship. They were close friends. They had celebrated holidays together, attended family gatherings, and stood by each other through life's ups and downs. Monique's presence in Clayton's life was as constant as the ticking of a clock, something that never required a second thought. She was just always there. The bond between these families was built over years, strengthened by trust and shared memories. Clayton remembered the day Monique was born as if it were yesterday. He had been at the hospital, holding her tiny body in his arms, promising Jerome that he would always be there for her. Over the years, their lives intertwined naturally. There were neighborhood barbecues where Monique sat on Clayton's shoulders, summer vacations where the Ellis and Marshall families laughed together, and Christmas mornings spent exchanging gifts. Monique was there for everything: birthdays, recitals, and lazy Sunday afternoons in the Marshall living room. Her connection to Clayton was deep and unquestioned. To Monique, Clayton was Ella's father, a second father figure in her life, someone she could trust completely. She never thought twice about being in his presence, whether it was in his home, at family events, or passing by his office after school. But now, Monique was 17. No longer the little girl Clayton had once carried on his shoulders. She was stepping into adulthood with dreams of becoming someone important, someone who would one day wear a badge of her own. Monique had ambition, the kind that could fill a room with energy. She wanted to join one of the top security agencies in the country. Maybe the FBI, maybe the Secret Service. She had goals, and she knew what she wanted. Their lives, once connected through friendship and family, now stood on the edge of a shift neither of them could see coming. Clayton saw her more frequently now. not just as Ella's best friend, but as someone with whom he crossed paths regularly. She was in his house almost every weekend. They saw each other at family parties and school events. And occasionally, Monique stopped by the sheriff's office to meet her father, waiting in the lobby or wandering the halls. She was always around, always present in the background of Clayton's life. And with each passing day, their paths became just a little more entangled. It started like any other day, one that should have slipped into the routine rhythm of life. But some moments have a way of shifting everything, and this one would be no different. Monique Ellis hadn't planned on staying long at the sheriff's station. She had only stopped by to meet her father, Officer Jerome Ellis, hoping for a quick hello and a ride home. It was something she had done countless times before. Waiting in the familiar halls, surrounded by the hum of conversations and the occasional ring of phones. It was ordinary, uneventful. But on this particular afternoon, the air felt different. Clayton Marshall spotted her from his office window as she entered the station, her presence catching his eye in a way it never had before. She wasn't the same girl he remembered. A shadow of adolescence had given way to the undeniable form of a young woman. There was a grace in the way she moved now, a quiet confidence that hadn't been there before. Clayton told himself it was nothing, just an observation. But the thought lingered longer than it should have. He knew Monique well. Too well, in fact. He had watched her grow up, laughed at her childhood antics, and celebrated her achievements alongside his daughter Ella. But today, for reasons he couldn't fully explain, something stirred inside him. A shift he didn't want to acknowledge. He tried to shake it off, tried to remind himself of who she was, who he was. But the more he watched her, the more difficult it became to look away. She wasn't just Monique, the little girl from the backyard birthday parties. She was someone else now, someone he found himself noticing in ways he shouldn't. The moment of recognition unsettled him, like a sudden misstep on familiar ground. Guilt gnawed at the edges of his thoughts, whispering that this was wrong, that he needed to stop. But temptation has a way of creeping in, winding its way through cracks in even the most disciplined mind. And as much as he fought to push it away, it clung to him, persistent and unwelcome. When Monique made her way down the hall toward her father's desk, Clayton stepped out of his office almost instinctively. He knew Jerome was out on assignment. He had sent him out earlier himself. There was no one else for Monique to meet, no one else for her to sit with. And in that moment, Clayton saw an opportunity, a way to prolong this encounter, to explore a curiosity he didn't want to admit he felt. "Monique!" he called out, his voice casual, almost fatherly. "Your dad's not back yet. Why don't you come wait in my office?" There was nothing in his tone to suggest anything unusual, no reason for Monique to feel uneasy. She smiled easily, trusting him completely. He was, after all, her father's closest friend, someone she had known her entire life. She followed him without hesitation, walking into the office that she had seen so many times before. Clayton offered her a seat by the window, watching as she settled in. She glanced around the room, her eyes catching on the artifacts and photographs scattered across the shelves. Mementos from years in law enforcement, framed commendations, and keepsakes from old cases. The room, much like the man himself, seemed steeped in experience and authority. Monique admired it all with a kind of wonder, unaware of the thoughts unraveling in Clayton's mind. He tried to act normal, tried to remind himself that this was just another conversation, just another day. But as he sat down across from her, something inside him refused to quiet down. She wasn't just a visitor in his office. She was a young woman sitting within arm's reach, someone who, for the first time in years, made him feel something unexpected. He asked her about school, an easy topic, familiar territory, and Monique, comfortable in his presence, responded eagerly. She spoke about her classes, her friends, and the future she envisioned for herself. "I've been thinking about going into law enforcement," she said, her voice bright with excitement. "Maybe the detectives, or even the Secret Service. Something that matters." Clayton listened, his attention fully on her now. There was an earnestness in her words, a spark of ambition that reminded him of his own younger days. And in that moment, he saw an opportunity, a chance to offer guidance, to position himself as someone who could help shape her future. The idea came to him unbidden, a way to extend their conversations beyond this office, to make sure these moments between them didn't end here. "You know," Clayton said slowly, "I have some friends in those agencies. I could put in a good word for you, maybe even help you get some hands-on experience." Monique's face lit up at the offer. "Really? You'd do that for me?" He smiled, playing the part of the mentor she believed him to be. "Of course, but there's a lot to learn before you get there. It's not an easy path, and you'll need to work hard. If you want, I could help you prepare." There was nothing in his voice that suggested anything other than genuine kindness, and Monique, eager to succeed, accepted the offer without hesitation. She didn't question his motives. Why would she? To her, this was just an older, experienced man offering her guidance, someone she trusted implicitly. Clayton leaned back in his chair, satisfied with how easily the conversation had flowed, how naturally he had planted the seeds for future encounters. He told himself this was harmless, that he was only helping a young woman reach her goals. But deep down, he knew better. He knew that every word he had spoken, every promise he had made, was part of something much more complicated. As Monique sat across from him, excited about the opportunities ahead, Clayton allowed himself a moment to revel in the power he held. The power to shape her dreams, to guide her path, and if he chose, to take these meetings further than she could ever imagine. And in that moment, a road of no return had been crossed, one that could never be undone. Opportunities can feel like lifelines, especially when they come from someone you trust. For Monique, Clayton's offer of mentorship felt like a step toward everything she had dreamed of, a rare chance to get ahead in a competitive field, guided by someone with experience, influence, and connections. But what she couldn't see, what no one saw, was how easily a dream can become a trap in the hands of the wrong person. Clayton's proposal was simple. A few private sessions, just the two of them, focused on preparing Monique for the world of national security. He framed it as career advice, a way to give her the edge she needed to succeed. At first, Monique felt nothing but gratitude. After all, how many young women her age got this kind of attention from someone in a position of power? He assured her that his guidance would set her apart from the crowd, opening doors she hadn't even imagined yet. But Clayton was careful, too careful. With every word, every suggestion, he planted little doubts in Monique's mind. He warned her not to tell too many people about their sessions, claiming they wouldn't understand her ambition. "People might try to hold you back," he said. "They might tell you it's impossible, that you're aiming too high. The fewer people know, the better. It's safer that way." At first it made sense to Monique. She'd heard the doubts from others before, how young women, especially women like her, shouldn't aim too high. Clayton's warning felt protective, even wise. She didn't question it. Why would she? He was only looking out for her, or so she thought. The sessions began innocently enough. Conversations about the challenges of law enforcement, the importance of resilience, and the skills she'd need to thrive in high-pressure environments. They met after school hours, at first in Clayton's office, then later at more private locations under the pretense of focused training. He always made her feel special, like she was receiving something no one else could offer her. And Monique, eager to impress, gave the sessions her all, believing they were shaping her future. But slowly, the nature of these meetings began to change. What started as professional guidance became something more personal, more intimate. Clayton started asking her about her life outside of school, her fears, her hopes, her relationships. He blurred the line between mentor and confidant, weaving himself deeper into her life without her realizing it. He was patient, calculating. He didn't rush things. He let Monique come to him, allowed her to trust him completely. Every time she opened up, every time she leaned on him for advice, the grip he had on her life tightened. And Monique, caught in the glow of his attention, never saw it for what it was. She believed she was being guided, not manipulated. She believed Clayton was helping her, not grooming her. The sessions began to stretch longer into the evenings. Clayton always had a reason to extend them, an important topic they hadn't covered yet, a critical piece of advice that couldn't wait. Soon they were meeting late into the night. The meetings were framed as necessary, essential steps on her journey toward success. If you want to make it, he told her, you have to be willing to put in the extra effort. And Monique, driven by ambition and the desire to please him, agreed without hesitation. She told herself these meetings were part of her growth, that the late hours were a small price to pay for everything Clayton was offering her. But with each session, she found herself more attached to him, not just as a mentor, but as someone she trusted deeply, someone she depended on in ways she couldn't explain. Clayton knew exactly what he was doing. He crafted his words carefully, making her believe that their time together was both a privilege and a secret, something they had to protect from those who might misunderstand. Some people won't see this for what it really is, he told her. They'll think it's inappropriate. They'll try to come between us, tell you to quit, make you give up on your dream. But I know how far you can go, Monique. Don't let anyone take that away from you. Monique believed him. Why wouldn't she? He was the sheriff, her father's trusted friend, the man who had known her all her life. If he said their meetings were necessary, they were. If he said the secrecy was for her benefit, she trusted him. And so she kept quiet, telling no one, not her father, not Ella, not her closest friends, about the time she spent with Clayton. The late-night sessions soon became their own little world, a place where Monique felt both vulnerable and powerful. Clayton made her feel like she was becoming someone important, someone capable of great things. And the more time they spent together, the more she relied on him, not just for guidance, but for emotional support. She saw him as a protector, someone who understood her in ways no one else did. But Clayton's mentorship wasn't just about her future. It was about something selfish. He made sure she needed him, not just for her career, but for her sense of self-worth. With every passing week, Monique found herself more drawn to him, more dependent on his approval. She wasn't just learning from him. She was falling under his spell. Then, one evening, the dynamic shifted completely. They were reviewing case files, discussing real-world examples of high-pressure decision-making, when Clayton's hand lingered just a moment too long on her shoulder. Monique didn't pull away. She didn't know she should. It felt like part of the closeness they had built, a natural extension of the bond they shared. And Clayton, sensing her acceptance, took it as permission to go further. The first kiss came without warning, but it didn't feel forced. It felt inevitable, like a step they had been moving toward all along. Monique, caught in the moment, didn't question it. She had grown used to following Clayton's lead, trusting his guidance. If this was part of their connection, then she welcomed it. That night, the bridge between mentor and lover disappeared entirely. What followed was no longer just mentorship. It was a full-fledged affair, hidden behind the same veil of secrecy Clayton had so carefully crafted. Their meetings continued, now infused with a new intensity, a combination of passion and control that left Monique feeling both exhilarated and vulnerable. She was falling deeper, believing that what they shared was real. To Monique, Clayton wasn't just a mentor anymore. He was her guide, her protector, her everything. But Clayton's control over Monique wasn't just emotional. It was absolute. He had woven himself into every aspect of her life, and with every passing day, she depended more on him, trusted him more, and believed that what they had was something worth protecting. And as their affair deepened, the walls around them closed tighter, locking Monique into a world she didn't realize was built on manipulation and deceit. There was no turning back now. Clayton had her exactly where he wanted, completely under his control, and hopelessly in love. Secrets have a way of changing people, of creeping into the small spaces of life and shifting everything just slightly out of place. At first, the changes are subtle, hardly noticeable. But as time goes on, the weight of those hidden truths begins to show. For Monique, the affair with Clayton had become the center of her world. Where once she had been open, bubbly, and connected to those closest to her, she now began to pull away. Slowly but surely, the Monique everyone knew was slipping into the shadows. Calls from friends went unanswered, hangouts with Ella became fewer and further between, and conversations with her father, Jerome, grew shorter by the day. Where once she had shared everything with him, the small victories, the daily frustrations, now she gave him little more than one-word answers and excuses. Jerome could feel the distance growing, though he couldn't put his finger on exactly why. He had always been close to Monique. They had shared a bond that most fathers would envy. But now, every attempt to connect seemed to be met with a wall. She was always busy, always tired, always distracted. He tried to brush it off at first. Teenagers go through phases, he told himself. Maybe it was the stress of school, the pressure of thinking about her future. But the longer it went on, the harder it became to ignore. There was a shift in her demeanor, something that felt out of character. The Monique he knew didn't keep secrets from him. But now, it felt as if she were carrying something heavy, something she wasn't willing to share. Jerome wasn't the type to let things slide for long. One evening, he found his chance to confront her. She had come home late, her expression distant, as if her mind were somewhere else entirely. He waited until she was in the kitchen, putting her things down before stepping in. "Monique," he said, keeping his tone steady. "We need to talk." Monique looked up, a flicker of guilt crossing her face before she masked it with a smile. "What's up, Dad?" she asked, her voice casual, but Jerome could hear the tension beneath it. "I've noticed you've been distant lately," Jerome said carefully. "You're not around as much. You're not talking to me like you used to. What's going on?" For a moment, Monique seemed caught off guard, as if she hadn't expected him to notice. But then she smiled again, this time more forced. "It's nothing, Dad. Just school, you know. A lot on my plate." Jerome wasn't convinced. Something was off, and no matter how hard she tried to act normal, he could feel the distance between them growing. He pressed her gently, asking if there was anything she needed to talk about, anything that might be bothering her. But Monique was ready for the questions. She had learned from Clayton how to dodge, how to deflect, how to steer conversations away from dangerous territory without raising too much suspicion. "I'm fine," she insisted, her voice just a little too cheerful. "Really, Dad, you don't have to worry about me." Jerome wanted to believe her, wanted to take her words at face value. But a knot of unease settled in his gut, one that he couldn't quite shake. Meanwhile, Clayton was carefully managing the changes in his own life. Sharon, his wife, had begun to sense that something was different. After years of marriage, she knew Clayton better than anyone. And lately, there were small things, things that didn't add up. He had always been a man of routine, steady, predictable, reliable. But now there were moments when he seemed distant, distracted, as if his mind was somewhere else entirely. He came home later than usual, offering vague explanations about long shifts or unexpected meetings. And when he was home, there was a restlessness about him, an unease that Sharon hadn't seen before. She asked him about it, of course, small, subtle questions, not wanting to seem accusatory. "Everything okay at work?" she would ask as they sat down for dinner. Or, "You seem a little off lately. Is something bothering you?" Clayton was ready for the questions. He knew how to lie without making it obvious, how to offer just enough truth to satisfy her without giving anything away. "It's just work," he would say, his tone light, but not too light. "You know how things get this time of year." And Sharon, though still unsettled, would let it go, for a while at least. But the nagging feeling didn't go away. She noticed the small things, how he checked his phone more often, how he seemed unusually guarded about where he was going or what he was doing. There were nights when he came to bed long after she had fallen asleep, and mornings when he left the house earlier than usual, always with an excuse at the ready. Sharon told herself she was probably overthinking things. Clayton was the sheriff, after all. His job came with its fair share of stress and responsibility. But deep down, she knew this wasn't just about work. Something had changed. She just couldn't figure out what. The tension in the Marshall household was little at first, barely noticeable. But it grew with each passing day, like a splinter buried beneath the skin, small enough to ignore, but impossible to forget. Clayton was careful, though. Careful to never let the cracks show too much. Careful to keep the walls of his double life intact. He knew how to say the right things, how to offer just enough affection to keep suspicion at bay. To Sharon, he was still the man she had married, just a little more tired, a little more preoccupied. To his daughters, he was still their father, just a bit more distant than usual. But Clayton knew the truth. He knew that the walls were closing in, slowly but surely, and no matter how carefully he managed things, the weight of his secret was beginning to take its toll. Monique, too, was feeling the strain. She missed the simplicity of her old life, missed the ease with which she could talk to her father, missed the carefree laughter she used to share with Ella. But every time she thought about stepping back, about pulling away from Clayton, she felt the invisible chains tighten around her. He had become more than just a mentor, more than just a lover. He had become the center of her world. And even as she felt the distance growing between herself and the people she loved, she told herself it was worth it. Clayton had promised her a future, had made her believe that what they shared was special. She couldn't walk away now, not when she had already come so far. And so the distance grew, between Monique and her father, between Clayton and his wife, between who they were and who they had become. The cracks were small, but they were there, waiting, widening, threatening to shatter everything the moment the truth came to light. Secrets have a way of unraveling at the worst possible moment. What begins quietly, hidden in the corners of stolen time, can grow into something that demands to be seen, no matter how carefully it's concealed. And for Clayton and Monique, the moment they feared, the moment they never thought would arrive, was finally here. Monique had known something was wrong for a few weeks. At first, she ignored it, convincing herself that stress or exhaustion was to blame. But as the days passed, the signs became impossible to dismiss. The nausea in the mornings, the sudden fatigue, the gnawing feeling that
shit.
something had changed within her.
Mm,
Eventually, she bought a pregnancy test, hoping, praying, that it was just her imagination. But when the 2 lines appeared, confirming her worst fear, the ground beneath her seemed to shift. She stared at the test in disbelief, her heart racing as 1,000 thoughts flooded her mind. She wasn't prepared for this. She hadn't planned for this. And yet, there it was. The undeniable proof that life, in all its chaotic unpredictability, had taken a turn she never saw coming. She sat in silence for what felt like hours, the weight of the realization settling heavily on her chest. And in that silence, only one thought stood out clearly. She had to tell Clayton. He had promised to be there for her, to help her build a future. If anyone could help her navigate this, it would be him, wouldn't it? When Monique finally gathered the courage to tell him, it was during one of their late-night meetings. They were sitting together, the air between them thick with the usual mix of tension and intimacy. She knew that once she said the words, everything would change. There would be no going back. "Clayton," she whispered, her voice barely audible, "I need to tell you something." He glanced at her, sensing the seriousness in her tone. "What is it?" he asked, leaning in slightly, as if bracing himself for what was coming. Monique hesitated for a moment, her hands trembling slightly. And then she said it, the words tumbling out before she could second-guess herself. "I'm pregnant." For a moment, the world seemed to stand still. Clayton stared at her, his expression frozen in disbelief. The words hung in the air like a ticking bomb, each second stretching into an eternity. Panic hit him like a tidal wave. His mind raced through the implications, what this meant for his career, his family, his reputation. Everything he had worked for, everything he had built, was now hanging by a thread. If anyone found out, if his wife, his daughters, the town, or the department discovered the truth, his life would be over. Clayton felt the walls closing in around him, the weight of his double life crushing him from all sides. He needed a solution, something quick, something final. This couldn't get out. It wouldn't get out. "We can't do this," he said, his voice sharp, almost panicked. "This can't happen. No one can know." Monique stared at him, confusion and hurt flickering across her face. "What do you mean? We can figure this out. You said you'd always be there for me." Clayton ran a hand through his hair, his mind spinning. He couldn't afford this scandal. He couldn't afford the fallout. In his panic, a single thought emerged. There was still time to fix this. There was still time to make it go away. He leaned in, his voice low and urgent. "You need to get rid of it, Monique. We have to end this before it's too late." Monique's heart sank at his words, disbelief washing over her. She had come to him for support, for reassurance, but instead she was met with fear and rejection. "You're asking me to have an abortion," she whispered, her voice cracking. Clayton nodded, desperation etched across his face. "It's the only way," he insisted. "If anyone finds out, my wife, your father, everything will be ruined. We can't let that happen. Please, Monique, you have to do this." But Monique shook her head, tears welling in her eyes. "No," she said firmly. "I won't do that. This is our child, Clayton. You told me we were in this together. You promised." For the first time, Clayton realized that Monique believed in the fantasy he had spun around her, that their relationship was real, that they had a future together, and in that moment he saw the full weight of his manipulation. She wasn't just carrying his child. She was carrying all the promises he had made to her, all the lies he had fed her to keep her close. Clayton's panic deepened. He tried to reason with her, to make her see the danger they were in. "You don't understand," he pleaded. If this gets out, my career is over. My family, my life, everything will be destroyed. We can't let that happen, Monique. You have to do this. But Monique was resolute. She shook her head again, her voice steady, despite the tears streaming down her face. I won't do it, she said softly but firmly. I won't get rid of it. This is my child, and I won't let you make me feel ashamed for wanting to keep it. Clayton felt the ground slipping from beneath him, his control over the situation unraveling with every word she spoke. He had built his entire life on maintaining control over his career, his family, his relationships. And now, in the face of Monique's quiet defiance, that control was slipping through his fingers like sand. For the first time in his life, Clayton Marshall, the man everyone saw as steady, composed and in control, felt powerless, and that terrified him. He tried one last time, his voice breaking under the weight of his desperation. Please, Monique, he whispered. If you care about me, if you care about what we have, you'll do this. You'll end it before it's too late. But Monique's resolve didn't waver. She looked him in the eye, her voice unwavering. No, she said simply. I'm keeping it. And in that moment, Clayton knew that the life he had so carefully built, the life he had fought so hard to protect, was on the verge of collapsing around him. There was no going back now. The truth was out, and no matter how hard Clayton tried to control the narrative, the consequences of his choices were closing in. The question wasn't whether the truth would come to light. It was how much damage it would leave in its wake. There comes a point where fear consumes everything. Logic fades, morality crumbles, and all that remains is the instinct to survive, no matter the cost. For Clayton, that moment had arrived. With every passing day, the walls of his carefully curated life were closing in, and the truth loomed like a shadow waiting to swallow him whole. The pregnancy was a threat Clayton couldn't escape. No amount of lies or persuasion had worked. Monique had made it clear she wasn't going to terminate the pregnancy. And with that decision, Clayton's world tilted on its axis. His career, his marriage, his reputation, everything was now on the brink of collapse. If the truth came out, there would be no redemption, no way to fix the wreckage it would leave behind. He spent restless nights staring at the ceiling, calculating every possible outcome. Each scenario ended the same way: scandal, disgrace, ruin. His name would be dragged through the mud. The sheriff's office would crumble under the weight of public outrage. His wife, Sharon, would leave him, his daughters would disown him, and the town that once respected him would turn against him with fury. He saw no way out, no way to contain the damage. But then, a thought crept in. A thought that should have horrified him, but instead brought a twisted sense of clarity. There was one way. One final way to make sure the truth never saw the light of day. He told himself it was the only solution, the only way to protect everything he had worked for. He knew it was wrong, knew that crossing this line would be a point of no return. But in his mind, the choice wasn't between right and wrong anymore. It was between survival and destruction. The plan formed slowly, taking shape in the dark corners of his mind. If Monique was gone, if she simply disappeared, no one would ever know. There would be questions, of course, but questions could be managed. He was the sheriff, after all. He had experience in controlling investigations, in steering them away from inconvenient truths. He could make it look like she had vanished on her own. He could make sure that no one ever connected the dots. Clayton waited until the time was right. He reached out to Monique, his voice calm and reassuring as he invited her to dinner at a secluded location. Just the two of them. He framed it as a way to talk about the future, to make plans for the baby, to figure out how they could navigate the situation together. And Monique, despite everything, still believed in him. She wanted to believe that they could make things work, that Clayton would stand by her like he had promised. She arrived at the location, a small cabin on the outskirts of town, far from prying eyes. Clayton greeted her with the same familiar smile, the same comforting presence that had drawn her in from the beginning. He had prepared everything meticulously. A quiet dinner, just the two of them, with wine poured into delicate glasses and a warm fire crackling in the hearth. They talked over dinner, their conversation laced with promises and reassurances. Clayton told her everything she wanted to hear, that they would figure it out, that they could still build a future together, that everything would be okay. And for a brief moment, Monique allowed herself to believe him. She let her guard down, feeling the familiar pull of the man she thought she knew. But Clayton's mind was elsewhere, focused on the small vial hidden in his pocket. A vial containing the drug that would ensure Monique never told a soul. He waited for the right moment. Monique was focused on the conversation, unaware of Clayton's growing tension. As she picked at her dinner, Clayton leaned in casually, reaching for her glass. "Let me top that off for you," he offered with an easy smile, lifting the wine bottle before she could respond. She was in her brain having good thoughts of having a baby with the sheriff. With practiced ease, he poured the wine, keeping his other hand steady as he palmed the vial. As the liquid flowed into the glass, he tilted the bottle just slightly, allowing the vial's contents to slip into the wine undetected. No stirring, no swirling. It dissolved seamlessly with the pour, hidden within the rich red. He handed the glass back without missing a beat, his voice smooth and conversational. "This should help us relax a little," he said with a grin, watching as Monique, trusting and oblivious, took a sip, then another, the wine flowing easily as the conversation continued. It didn't take long for the drug to take effect. Monique's eyelids grew heavy, her words slurring as she tried to keep up with the conversation. A wave of confusion washed over her, and she looked at Clayton with a frown, as if trying to make sense of the sudden exhaustion that had overtaken her. "I don't feel so good," she murmured, her voice barely above a whisper. Clayton reached out, his hand resting on hers in a gesture of false comfort. "It's okay," he said softly. "You just need to rest. Everything's going to be fine." Monique's body grew limp, her head lolling to the side as the drug pulled her into unconsciousness. Clayton watched her for a moment, ensuring that the drug had done its job. And then, without a trace of hesitation, he moved to the next phase of his plan. He carried her to his truck, her unconscious form cradled in his arms like a dark echo of the day he had carried her as a baby. But this time, there was no joy, no pride, only cold determination. Clayton drove in silence, the road stretching out before him like a path toward freedom. He had chosen the location carefully, a remote area deep in the woods, far from any trail or road. It was a place no one would stumble upon by accident, a place where secrets could stay buried. The drive was long, the weight of what he was about to do pressing down on him with every mile. But he didn't stop. He couldn't stop. The moment he had crossed the line, there was no turning back. There was only one way forward now, and he was committed to seeing it through. When he reached the clearing, he stepped out of the truck and looked around, ensuring that they were alone. The forest was silent, the trees standing like silent witnesses to what was about to happen. Clayton opened the door and lifted Monique from the passenger seat, her body still limp and unresponsive. He carried her deep into the woods, the only sound the crunch of leaves beneath his boots. And then, in that remote, forgotten place, he did what he had convinced himself he had to do. He knelt beside her, his hands trembling only slightly as he placed them over her mouth and nose. Monique stirred briefly, her body reacting instinctively, but the drug had taken too strong a hold. Within moments, the struggle stopped, and the forest fell silent once more. Clayton sat there for a moment, his hands still pressed against her lifeless face, his breath coming in ragged gasps, and then, as if on autopilot, he began to dig. He worked quickly, the dirt flying beneath his hands as he created a shallow grave. Time blurred, the weight of his actions settling like a stone in his chest. But he didn't stop. He couldn't afford to stop, not now. When the grave was finished, he laid Monique's body inside, covering her with the cold, damp earth. And just like that, she was gone, buried beneath the weight of lies and betrayal. Clayton stood over the grave, his chest rising and falling with heavy breaths. The night was still, the forest holding its breath as if waiting to see what he would do next. But there was nothing left to do. He had made his choice, and now there was only silence. Without a word, Clayton turned and made his way back to the truck, leaving no trace of what had transpired. The forest would keep his secret, and with it, the life he had been so desperate to protect. But some secrets refuse to stay buried. When someone goes missing in a close-knit town, it sends shockwaves through every corner of the community. People rally together, neighbors exchange worried glances, and families cling tighter to each other, hoping it never happens to them. But this time, the missing person wasn't just anyone. This was Monique Ellis, the daughter of a beloved officer, a girl everyone knew and adored. The day Monique didn't come home, panic began to spread. Her parents, Jerome and Denise Ellis, went from thinking she was running late to realizing something was very, very wrong. They tried her phone. No answer. They called her friends. None of them had seen her. And when the hours ticked by with no sign of Monique, the fear set in like a cold wave, crashing over them. Jerome knew something was off. His gut twisted with a father's instinct, that nagging feeling he couldn't shake. Monique wasn't the type to vanish without a word, without letting someone know where she was. And as the sun set on that first day without her, Jerome did the only thing he could. He called in a missing persons report. The sheriff's office sprang into action, or so it looked. Leading the search was none other than Clayton Marshall, the man who had every reason to make sure Monique was never found. Clayton wore the mask of professionalism perfectly, his voice steady, his demeanor calm, as he promised the community that he would do everything in his power to bring Monique home. But every step Clayton took was calculated. Every lead followed, every search organized, was done with one goal in mind: to keep the truth buried, along with Monique. The search started immediately, with deputies canvassing the town, questioning anyone who might have seen her. Clayton ensured that every effort looked genuine. Teams scouring parks, abandoned buildings, and back roads. He was there every step of the way, barking orders, comforting volunteers, and appearing to go above and beyond. To everyone else, he looked like a man determined to find the missing girl. But in reality, Clayton was always 2 steps ahead, steering the investigation away from the one place they'd never look, the remote spot where Monique's body lay hidden beneath the cold earth. Jerome, desperate for answers, leaned heavily on Clayton, his longtime friend and mentor. Clayton played the part well, offering words of comfort and support, his arms slung around Jerome's shoulders as they combed through the possibilities. "We'll find her, Jerome," he said more than once, his voice steady and reassuring. "I promise you, we'll bring her home." Each time Jerome's hope wavered, Clayton was there to catch him. He stayed close to the family, visiting their home often, sitting at their kitchen table and holding Denise's hand while she wept. He became their lifeline in the chaos, the one person they felt they could rely on when everything else was falling apart.
This is so crazy.
And that was exactly how Clayton wanted it. But Clayton's grip on the investigation was tight. He carefully controlled the narrative, guiding deputies and volunteers toward false leads. He suggested that Monique might have left town on her own, perhaps overwhelmed by the pressures of school and life. He floated the idea that she might be staying with a friend who hadn't come forward yet, or even that she might have been picked up by someone she knew. His theories planted seeds of doubt, redirecting the search toward meaningless trails that led nowhere. Clayton knew how to manipulate the emotions of those around him, playing the role of the concerned sheriff while subtly pushing the investigation further from the truth. Every time the search teams got close to an area he feared they might uncover, Clayton conveniently found a new lead. A sighting that needed to be checked out on the other side of town, a tip that required immediate attention elsewhere. He kept everyone moving, always one step behind where they needed to be, ensuring that no one ever came close to the grave where Monique's body rested. Meanwhile, Monique's parents clung to every word Clayton said, believing that he was doing everything in his power to find their daughter. Jerome, especially, relied on Clayton more than anyone else. As a father and an officer, Jerome felt helpless in the face of his daughter's disappearance. But with Clayton leading the charge, he felt a glimmer of hope. A belief that if anyone could bring Monique back, it was the man he had trusted for so many years. Clayton knew exactly how to manipulate that trust, using it to keep Jerome close while keeping the truth at bay. He made sure to include Jerome in every step of the investigation, giving him just enough responsibility to feel involved, but never enough to uncover the truth. And when Jerome's frustration boiled over, Clayton was there to absorb it, to let him vent his anger without raising suspicion. "I should have been there," Jerome said more than once, guilt and grief thick in his voice. "I should have protected her." Clayton would shake his head, his expression solemn. "This isn't your fault, Jerome. We'll find her. I promise you, we'll find her." It was the perfect manipulation, a delicate balance of comfort and control, of empathy and deceit. Clayton gave the Ellises just enough hope to keep them going, just enough reassurance to prevent them from looking too closely at the gaps in the investigation. Days turned into weeks, and still, there was no sign of Monique. The community grew restless, rumors spreading like wildfire, theories whispered in hushed tones. Some believed she had run away. Others feared something worse. But through it all, Clayton remained a steady presence, the man everyone looked to for answers. Behind the scenes, however, the weight of his actions was beginning to take its toll. Each day the investigation dragged on was a reminder of the terrible truth he was hiding. And though he wore the mask of the concerned sheriff well, there were moments when the cracks began to show. Moments when the guilt gnawed at the edges of his mind, threatening to unravel the carefully constructed lie he had built. But Clayton couldn't afford to falter. The moment he slipped, the moment he let his guard down, everything would come crashing down around him. So he kept moving, kept directing the search, kept feeding Jerome and Denise just enough hope to keep them from giving up. He knew that time was on his side. The longer the search went on without results, the more people would begin to believe that Monique was gone for good. And if the investigation dragged on long enough, eventually it would fade into the background. Just another unsolved case, another tragedy with no answers. That was the hope Clayton clung to, that the search would fizzle out, that the town would move on, and that his secret would remain buried where no one would ever find it. But secrets have a way of rising to the surface, no matter how deeply they're buried. And as the days passed, the pressure on Clayton grew heavier, the cracks in his carefully controlled world spreading wider with each passing moment. The investigation he had worked so hard to control was slipping further from his grasp, and the harder he tried to keep it contained, the more fragile it became. But for now, Clayton remained in control, barely. He kept the investigation alive just enough to maintain appearances, kept Jerome close enough to keep him from looking elsewhere, and kept the truth buried beneath layers of lies and false leads. But Clayton knew, deep down, that this fragile charade couldn't last forever. The truth was out there, waiting to be uncovered, and when it finally came to light, it would tear through everything in its path. Time has a way of dulling memories and softening the sharp edges of grief, but not for everyone. 5 months after Monique's disappearance, the town had begun to settle back into its routine, as people do after a tragedy. Life moved on, though her absence lingered in quiet moments, and her name remained on the lips of those who still hoped for answers. But as the days stretched into months, even hope began to fade. It was becoming another cold case, one of those unsolved tragedies that leave behind more questions than answers. The search parties had slowed, the posters plastered on storefronts had started to peel, and the once constant buzz of speculation had quieted to murmurs. It seemed, at least to some, that Monique had simply vanished without a trace. And Clayton Marshall believed that, with time, the truth would remain buried, just like Monique. But then, as it often does in stories like these, the truth began to surface, unexpectedly, and from the most unlikely place. The truth doesn't stay buried forever, no matter how deep someone tries to hide it. It wasn't hackers or investigators who uncovered the first cracks in Clayton Marshall's web of lies. It was 2 ordinary hikers, out for what should have been a peaceful day on the trails. They had no idea that what lay ahead would unravel a mystery that had haunted the town for months. The hikers, a couple in their late 20s, had ventured deep into a forested area rarely visited by anyone other than wildlife enthusiasts. The trail was rough and winding, twisting through dense woods where silence reigned, broken only by the occasional rustling of leaves. It was the kind of place where no one would expect to find anything but nature, much less a hidden secret. As the sun dipped lower in the sky, casting long shadows along the trail, they noticed something strange, an unnatural disturbance in the ground just off the path. A patch of earth, uneven and slightly sunken, stood out from the rest of the forest floor. The hikers exchanged uneasy glances. It could have been nothing, a buried animal maybe, but something about it felt off. Their curiosity got the better of them. With hesitant steps, they approached the disturbed ground. As one of them knelt down to inspect it more closely, they noticed something chilling. What looked like a corner of fabric, barely visible beneath the dirt and fallen leaves. It wasn't much, but it was enough to send a shiver down their spines. They knew better than to disturb the site any further. Instead, they marked the location with their GPS and quickly made their way back to the nearest ranger station, their hearts pounding with a mixture of fear and disbelief. The rangers, alerted by the hikers' discovery, contacted local authorities, and within hours, a full investigative team was on site. What they found beneath the disturbed ground confirmed the hikers' worst fears. Monique Ellis's body, wrapped carefully in a tarp, lay in a shallow grave. Her remains told a silent, heartbreaking story of betrayal and violence. But the discovery didn't just reveal the location of her body. It raised more questions than it answered. How had Monique ended up here? And more importantly, who had put her there? As the forensic team worked methodically at the scene, law enforcement officers scoured the surrounding area for clues. And it was there, among the dirt and foliage, that they found the first piece of undeniable evidence, a small vial, half buried in the earth, bearing the faint imprint of a fingerprint. It was a clue, seemingly insignificant at first glance, but one that would later prove vital to the investigation. With Monique's body recovered, the case that had grown cold suddenly reignited. The detectives took over the investigation, determined to piece together the truth behind her disappearance. They combed through GPS data from Monique's phone, tracing her movements from the night she disappeared. And what they found began to unravel the carefully crafted lies Clayton had spun. The data showed a troubling pattern. Monique's phone had pinged from several locations far from where Clayton claimed she had last been seen. Among them was a remote gas station just outside of town, a seemingly unremarkable stop that would become a critical piece of evidence in the case. When the detectives obtained surveillance footage from the gas station, the full scope of Clayton's deception came into focus. The grainy video, recorded on the same night Monique vanished, showed Clayton's truck pulling into the parking lot. His expression was tight, his eyes scanning the area as if checking for any unwanted attention. And in the passenger seat, slumped and unmoving, was Monique. Her head rested against the window, her body limp, as Clayton stepped out of the vehicle and glanced around the lot. He went inside briefly, emerging moments later and casting another glance toward Monique's lifeless form before getting back into the driver's seat. With a quick look over his shoulder, Clayton drove off into the night, the truck disappearing from the frame, and until now, from the town's collective memory. The video was damning, not just because it placed Clayton with Monique on the night she vanished, but because of the state she was in, unconscious, vulnerable, and in the company of the very man sworn to protect her. The footage raised immediate questions. Why had Clayton never mentioned being with Monique that night? Why had he failed to report their encounter in his official statements? And what had really happened after they left the gas station? With Monique's movements traced to the burial site and surveillance footage tying Clayton to her final hours, the detectives knew they were closing in on the truth. But they needed more than suspicion. They needed hard evidence. And the key to unlocking that evidence lay in the digital breadcrumbs Monique's phone had left behind. The GPS data from Clayton's truck, pulled from onboard tracking systems, provided the final piece of the puzzle. The logs confirmed what the surveillance footage had suggested. Clayton's truck had traveled from the gas station to the remote area where Monique's body was found, matching the exact location marked by the hikers. Every turn, every stop was accounted for, painting a chilling picture of premeditation and cover-up. It was a trail Clayton hadn't expected anyone to follow. But no matter how carefully he had tried to conceal his actions, the truth had found a way to the surface. First through the hikers on the trail, then through the relentless work of investigators, determined to uncover the lies hidden beneath the surface. The discovery of Monique's body wasn't just the end of a search. It was the beginning of justice. And the hikers, unaware of the storm their quiet walk in the woods would unleash, had unknowingly uncovered the secret Clayton Marshall had buried, both literally and figuratively. As the investigation gained momentum, the truth about Clayton's betrayal spread through the town like wildfire. His carefully crafted facade of authority crumbled beneath the weight of the evidence, and with each new discovery, the community began to understand the depth of his deception and the price Monique had paid for his abuse of power. The hikers' discovery on that remote trail would become the turning point in a case that had gone cold for far too long. And as the town braced for the storm that was about to follow, one thing was certain. No secret, no matter how deeply buried, could stay hidden forever. The click of the handcuffs echoed through the quiet office as they locked around his wrists, cold metal biting into his skin. Clayton said nothing. The fight drained from him as the weight of his actions settled like a stone in his chest. There was no more running, no more lying. The truth had caught up with him, and there was nowhere left to hide. The agents guided him out of the office, past the deputies who had once respected him, past the desks where he had commanded authority. Now, they looked at him not as their sheriff, but as the man who had betrayed everything the badge stood for. Whispers followed him down the hall, the weight of their judgment heavy on his shoulders. As the agents escorted Clayton to the waiting car, The sun rose high in the sky, casting harsh light on the day of reckoning. The truth, once buried beneath lies and manipulation, had finally come to the surface. And with it, Clayton Marshall's life, as he knew it, was over. The man who had spent his life serving justice was now bound by the same system he had once controlled, a prisoner of his own sins. And as the car doors slammed shut, the message was clear. No one, not even the sheriff, is above the law. Grief by itself is unbearable, but discovering the full extent of a tragedy brings a pain few can describe. When the detectives recovered Monique Ellis's body, the nightmare deepened with every revelation that followed. It wasn't just the betrayal of trust, the horrific murder, or the loss of a young life. The autopsy revealed a final, devastating truth that shattered what little remained of her family's world. The forensic team confirmed that Monique had been in the early stages of pregnancy. The child she had carried, Clayton Marshall's child, had been growing inside her when her life was violently taken. That discovery turned the grief of her parents, Jerome and Denise Ellis, into something unbearable. They weren't just mourning their daughter, they were mourning the grandchild they would never meet. It was a loss layered with betrayal, violation, and unspoken dreams. Jerome could barely process the news. His hands shook when the detectives informed him of the pregnancy. It was more than he could bear. The knowledge that his own daughter had carried a child, only to be silenced by a man he trusted. A man who had sat at his kitchen table and offered him comfort as they searched for her. The weight of that betrayal pressed down on Jerome's chest, suffocating him with a guilt he couldn't shake. How had he missed the signs? How could he have stood beside Clayton, searching for his daughter, while the man responsible led them astray? And the pregnancy. He hadn't even known she was in a relationship, let alone involved with a man like Clayton. It was too much. The betrayal came at him in layers, peeling back everything he thought he knew, leaving him raw and exposed. Denise Ellis, already buried under the weight of her grief, fell into complete despair when the autopsy results were revealed. The child would have been her first grandchild, a new beginning, a reason to hope. And now, both Monique and the unborn child were gone, buried together under a blanket of lies and deception. There were no words that could ease the pain of such a loss. Every dream Denise had for her daughter's future was gone, wiped away in the cruelest way possible. The autopsy findings ignited a new wave of outrage within the community. News of Monique's pregnancy spread quickly, turning an already horrific crime into something even more unthinkable. Clayton Marshall wasn't just a murderer. He was a predator who had exploited his position of power, manipulated a young girl, and taken 2 lives to cover his tracks. The man who had once been the community's protector now stood as a symbol of everything they despised. Protesters gathered outside the sheriff's office and the courthouse, their voices echoing through the streets. Signs demanding justice for Monique and baby waved in the air, and the calls for Clayton's conviction grew louder by the day. The community, once proud of its sheriff, now viewed him as a monster in uniform. Every kind gesture, every award he had received, felt like a mockery of the evil he had hidden beneath his badge. In the Marshall household, the revelations were equally devastating. Sharon Marshall sat in stunned silence as the news unfolded, her world collapsing under the weight of her husband's lies. She had been blindsided by the affair, shattered by the murder. But the pregnancy? That was the final blow, the one truth she couldn't comprehend. Yeah, she thought back to every moment she had shared with Clayton, every day he had spent with their daughters, knowing now that he had carried this unspeakable secret the entire time. It wasn't just the betrayal. It was the knowledge that her husband had fathered a child with Monique, a girl they had watched grow up, a friend to their own daughter. The sheer cruelty of it left her speechless. Ella Marshall, Clayton's youngest daughter and Monique's best friend was broken by the news. She had spent weeks mourning Monique, trying to understand how her father could be involved in such a crime. But learning about the pregnancy was too much to bear. Monique had been carrying her half-sibling, and now both were gone, taken by the man she once called Dad. It was a betrayal so profound that Ella didn't know how to process it. Ella retreated into herself, shutting out the world. She refused to speak to her father, wouldn't even acknowledge his existence. The idea of him disgusted her. Every memory they had shared, the moments she once cherished, were now tainted by the knowledge of what he had done. She felt as though her entire life had been built on lies, and the weight of that realization crushed her. Harper, Clayton's older daughter, responded with anger. She had always been closer to her father, had looked up to him as a role model, only to discover that he had committed unspeakable acts against someone she had grown up with. The pregnancy was the final straw. Harper packed her things and left the house, cutting all ties with her father, unable to forgive him for the lives he had destroyed. The Marshall home, once filled with laughter and routine, became a silent war zone. Sharon tried to hold her daughters together, but there was no repairing the damage Clayton had done. Their family was broken beyond repair, fractured by the weight of his betrayal. And in the quiet moments, when the world felt still, Sharon sat alone, grappling with the reality that the man she had loved for decades was capable of such monstrous acts. The community's anger burned hotter with every passing day. Monique had been one of their own, bright, ambitious, and full of potential. And now, both she and her unborn child were gone, victims of a man they had once trusted. The demand for justice was relentless. They wanted to see Clayton punished, not just for Monique's death, but for the life of the child she carried. They wanted to ensure that he could never hurt anyone again. Jerome and Denise found some solace in the community's support, but it was a cold comfort. The loss of their daughter and grandchild left a void that could never be filled. They attended every court hearing, sitting in the front row, determined to see Clayton face the full weight of justice. But even a conviction wouldn't bring Monique back. Even seeing Clayton in handcuffs wouldn't heal the wounds left behind. The tragedy that began with Clayton's manipulation had grown into something far larger. A story of betrayal, loss, and broken trust. The community would never forget what had happened, and neither would the families involved. The name Clayton Marshall would forever be associated with pain, with loss, with the lives he had destroyed to protect his own secrets. And as the trial loomed, the town prepared itself for the final chapter, a reckoning long overdue for Monique, for her child, and for everyone whose lives had been shattered by the man they once called Sheriff. The trial of Clayton Marshall gripped the community and the nation, drawing everyone into the dark story of betrayal, manipulation, and murder. Reporters packed the courtroom, cameras perched outside like vultures, ready to capture every moment of the sheriff's downfall. It was not just a trial, it was a reckoning, one that demanded every ugly truth be laid bare for the world to see. From the outset, the prosecution wasted no time laying out their case, presenting a narrative of manipulation that revealed Clayton's true nature. A man who had exploited his authority and preyed on someone who trusted him. Every move he made was calculated, they argued, from the start of the affair to the cold-blooded murder that followed. Clayton Marshall, they said, was not the man the community had thought he was. He was a man who used his badge as a shield to hide his darkest impulses. Piece by piece, the prosecutors reconstructed the events leading up to Monique's death, using surveillance footage, phone records, and forensic evidence to paint a damning picture. They exposed Clayton's efforts to manipulate Monique, convincing her to meet with him under the pretext of mentorship. They explained how he lured her to the remote location, drugged her, and ultimately killed her to protect his reputation and career. The courtroom was silent as the prosecutors described Clayton's actions. Every word felt like a hammer striking the very foundations of trust. Each piece of evidence served as a reminder of the man Clayton had pretended to be and the monster he had become beneath the surface. Then came the emotional testimonies, and with them, the heart of the trial was laid bare. Monique's parents, Jerome and Denise Ellis, were the first to take the stand. There was no disguising the grief etched into their faces, nor the weight of the pain they carried as they spoke about the daughter they had lost. Jerome's voice cracked as he recalled the first day Clayton had joined their search for Monique, standing beside him as a trusted friend. "He looked me in the eye," Jerome said, struggling to hold back tears. "He told me we'd find her, and the whole time, he knew exactly where she was." His voice broke, and he buried his face in his hands, the weight of the betrayal too much to bear. Denise's testimony was equally devastating. She spoke about the dreams Monique had for her future, the plans she had shared late at night over cups of tea. "She wanted to make a difference," Denise whispered, her voice trembling. "She wanted to work for the detectives, to protect people. And instead, the man we trusted, our friend, stole her future and buried it in the ground." Her words hung in the air, suffused with the sorrow of a mother who would never see her daughter grow into the woman she was meant to become. As the trial continued, the courtroom was filled with a palpable tension. Every testimony, every exhibit presented brought the harsh truth into sharper focus. But the most shocking testimony came from Clayton's own family. Sharon Marshall, his wife, took the stand with a heavy heart, her voice steady but filled with disbelief. "I don't know who my husband is anymore," she admitted. "The man I married, the father of my children, wasn't capable of this, or at least, I thought he wasn't." She spoke about the months of lies, the late nights when Clayton returned home with excuses that now felt like insults. "I believed him," she said quietly. "I believed every word, and now I have to live with the fact that I was married to a man I never really knew." Her words landed with the weight of 1,000 betrayals, a wife forced to confront the darkest truth about the man she had shared her life with. Ella Marshall, Clayton's youngest daughter, gave perhaps the most painful testimony of the trial. As she sat in the witness chair, tears streaming down her face, she spoke about the friendship she had shared with Monique and the devastation she felt when the truth came to light. "She was my best friend," Ella said, her voice trembling. "She was like a sister to me. And my father took her away from me." The room fell into silence as Ella's grief poured out, unfiltered and raw. The prosecution pressed further, painting a picture of a man who had not only betrayed his badge, but destroyed 2 families in the process. They described the lengths Clayton went to in order to maintain control, his manipulation of Monique, the lies he told his family, the web of deceit he spun around everyone who trusted him. Finally, it was Clayton's turn to face questioning. The room was still as he took the stand, the weight of his actions pressing down on him from all sides. He had denied the affair at first, denied everything, clinging to the hope that he could somehow escape the consequences. But as the evidence stacked up, it became clear that there was no escape. Under the relentless questioning of the prosecutor, Clayton's defenses began to crumble. His mask of calm authority slipped away, revealing the man beneath. A man consumed by fear, regret, and guilt. At first, his answers were short, clipped as he tried to maintain control. But the prosecutor's questions cut deeper, pushing him to confront the reality of what he had done. "Did you have an affair with Monique Ellis?" the prosecutor asked, his voice steady and unyielding. Clayton hesitated, the weight of the truth suffocating him. He opened his mouth to deny it again, but the words wouldn't come. His shoulders sagged under the crushing burden, and for the first time, he told the truth. "Yes," he whispered, his voice barely audible. "I did." The confession sent a ripple through the courtroom. Clayton's family sat frozen in disbelief, while Monique's parents clutched each other, their grief too overwhelming to contain. But the prosecutor wasn't finished. He pressed further, forcing Clayton to confront the full extent of his actions. "And did you kill her?" the prosecutor asked, leaning in closer. "Did you take her life to protect your secret?" Clayton's composure shattered. His hands trembled as he buried his face in them, the weight of his guilt too heavy to bear. "Yes," he choked out. "I killed her. I didn't know what else to do." His sobs filled the courtroom, the sound of a man broken by his own sins. The room sat in stunned silence, the confession hanging in the air like a heavy cloud. There were no more lies to tell, no more masks to wear. Clayton Marshall, once the respected sheriff, had admitted to the unthinkable. The trial was far from over, but the truth had finally come to light. Clayton's confession marked the beginning of the end. An end that would bring justice for Monique and her unborn child, and some semblance of closure to the families whose lives had been shattered. And as the gavel struck, signaling the end of the day's proceedings, one thing was certain. Clayton Marshall's fate was sealed, and there would be no escaping the consequences of his actions. The courtroom was silent, heavy with the weight of justice about to be delivered. Clayton Marshall stood shackled before the judge, his shoulders slumped under the crushing weight of what he had done. But no chains, no bars, could ever truly reflect the gravity of the lives lost at his hands. The life of Monique Ellis, the young woman he betrayed, and the unborn child she carried. This was not just the sentencing of a man. It was the reckoning for 2 lives stolen too soon. The judge cleared his throat, his face solemn as he addressed the courtroom. His words carried the weight of the community's sorrow, the devastation of 2 grieving families, and the shame of betrayal from a man once entrusted with power and responsibility. There would be no easy way to deliver this sentence, for no words could fully capture the harm inflicted by Clayton Marshall. "Mr. Marshall," the judge began, his voice calm but firm, "you have not only committed a grievous crime, but you have also left behind irreparable damage to the lives of those you were sworn to protect. You betrayed a young woman who trusted you, exploited her vulnerability under the guise of mentorship, and in doing so, took advantage of your authority in the most despicable way imaginable." The courtroom remained still as the judge's gaze hardened. Monique Ellis was not only a victim of your manipulation. She was a young woman with dreams, ambitions, and a future ahead of her. A future that included the unborn child she carried, a child you helped create, and a child you silenced when you decided to take Monique's life. Gasps rippled through the gallery, the weight of the revelation setting in once again. Monique had carried within her not just the hopes of her parents, but the beginnings of a new life, life that would never see the light of day, all because of Clayton's desperate need to cover his tracks. The judge paused, allowing the gravity of those words to sink in before continuing. "The child growing inside Monique was your child, Mr. Marshall. You knew the consequences of that revelation would ruin your career, your reputation, and your family. And in a moment of selfishness and cowardice, you chose to end 2 lives to protect yourself. That choice reflects the depths of your betrayal, not just to Monique, but to your own unborn child." Tears streamed down the faces of Jerome and Denise Ellis as the judge acknowledged their unimaginable loss. They were not only mourning their daughter, but also the grandchild they would never meet. The double loss weighed heavily on them, and the words from the judge only confirmed the depth of Clayton's betrayal. Sharon Marshall clutched her hands tightly in her lap, as if the sheer force of her grip could keep her from shattering completely. Clayton's daughters, Ella and Harper, sat motionless, numb from the revelations that had ripped their family apart. Monique's unborn child would have been their half-sibling, a truth too painful for them to fully comprehend. The judge's voice remained steady, though his expression was one of deep disappointment. The badge you wore, Mr. Marshall, was meant to serve as a symbol of integrity, responsibility, and protection. But you wielded it as a shield to hide your darkest intentions. You manipulated, you betrayed, and you destroyed. This court cannot undo the harm you've caused, nor can it restore the lives you took. But it can ensure that you never again harm another soul. The room held its breath as the judge delivered the sentence. This court finds you guilty of first-degree murder, abuse of authority, and gross misconduct. In light of the severity of these crimes, and the fact that your actions resulted in the deaths of both Monique Ellis and your unborn child, I hereby sentence you to life in prison without the possibility of parole. The gavel struck with a sharp crack, the sound reverberating through the courtroom like a final judgment. There would be no reprieve, no chance for redemption. Clayton Marshall's fate was sealed, and he would spend the remainder of his days in a prison cell, haunted by the lives he had taken. The gallery sat in silence as the reality of the sentence set in. Jerome and Denise clung to each other, their grief too overwhelming for words. The child Monique had carried, an innocent life caught in the crossfire of manipulation and betrayal, would never be known, never have a name. And the knowledge of that loss, like a wound that would never heal, would remain with them for the rest of their lives. On the other side of the courtroom, Sharon lowered her head, unable to reconcile the man she had married with the monster now led away in chains. Her daughters, Ella and Harper, sat frozen in their seats, their emotions swirling in a storm of confusion and sorrow. The trial had revealed too much, truths they never wanted to know, burdens they never thought they would carry. As Clayton was escorted from the courtroom, the community watched in silence. They had placed their trust in him, and he had shattered it in the worst way possible. The sentence was justice, but it could never truly heal the scars left behind. Monique and her child were gone, and no amount of justice could bring them back. The judge's final words lingered in the air as the courtroom emptied. "Let this serve as a reminder," he had said, "that power is not a privilege. It is a responsibility. And when that responsibility is betrayed, there are consequences. No one is above the law, and no betrayal will go unanswered." The trial of Clayton Marshall would be remembered not just as the story of one man's fall from grace, but as a cautionary tale about the dangers of unchecked power and the importance of accountability. It was a reminder that authority means nothing without integrity, and that every betrayal, no matter how deeply buried, will eventually come to light. And so, with Clayton sentenced to life without parole, the community was left to pick up the pieces. Justice had been served, but the loss remained, a haunting reminder of the lives stolen too soon, and the trust that could never be restored. Even after the trial ended and Clayton Marshall was locked away, the pain he caused lingered like a shadow over the community. There were no easy answers, no quick resolutions. Monique's death was not just a tragedy, it was a reckoning that forced everyone to confront the reality of betrayal hidden behind power and trust. And in the wake of such devastation, healing was slow and uneven, but it had to begin somewhere. For Jerome and Denise Ellis, the loss of their daughter was a wound that would never fully heal.
I think that's more than enough. They still got another 5 minutes of him dragging this thing out. I never heard of
Lord.
this case at all. Sheriff. I looked
Yeah.
something up. I didn't realize this thing was that long until after we started playing it. I said, "Oh
Who
boy!"
sent this?
I just clicked on it. I'm sorry.
Oh,
We
okay.
won't do that no more. But
Go upstairs, Mike.
go upstairs. You're right.
Take
But
your
this
water
is
with you.
yeah, this is a more recent or a better picture of them two. She's beautiful. But golly, how in the world you look at you? Oh my God. How can you do this? Hey.
That's what I was. That's what we were talking about earlier, isn't it? This goes throughout all. It's not just. It's not people are talking about CPS and all of that stuff, but this goes deeper, man. This is through all kinds of organizations.
Right. That's probably why I started playing it and stuff. Well,
You want to do
look
your
here, y'all.
outro?
We're gonna get on up out of here. Y'all take it light, take it slow. Tell them Uncle Mike told you so. Peace out. All right. Oh my gracious. Ooh.
Good Lord. You
Good
got to
Lord,
play
you're
stuff
right.
like that at 1.5 speed or something. That man said the same thing about 4 times. I said, okay.
Yeah,
We
that
get
was
it.
an hour and a half, hour and 35 minutes. Sorry, y'all.
Yeah.
I thought it was gonna get juicier, but it just got
repetitive.
That was enough crazy, I think, for good Lord, help us.
Go to the
These
bathroom
people out here.
I think Uncle Mike needs to go and get some rest. I think because he's got a big trip coming up in a few days, man.
Yeah. But for those of you who are just, that are asking, I got a couple of emails. I apologize. I was actually working in the background. So anytime you see that I'm not paying attention, I'm listening, I'm not looking at the screen, I'm actually working on something, behind the scenes that, has
She's
to do with
lying.
either something.
She's texting me. She's texting. That's what she's doing.
Yeah, sometimes I am texting her. This time I wasn't. This time Ada has gotten in touch with me. She has
cool.
emailed me. I did send her my phone number so that we can connect offline. I'm talking to a friend of mine. We're trying to see how we can assist with anything. I know that she was supposed to come on tonight, but she did say something about her phone wasn't charged, and so she had to get home so she could charge her phone. So, the invitation is open to her to come on whenever she can. I told her that, but I just wanted to let everybody know that when you see me, if I'm not looking directly at the camera, it's because I'm doing things behind the scene. I am who I say I am. I do what I say
No,
I'm
you're
going to
not.
do.
You ain't who you say you are.
No,
You ain't you.
and that's not even.
So yes. So I apologize for that, guys. I was listening, but sometimes things take precedence that are, very important, and you don't want to let those things go through the cracks. So
it is cold as sugar outside, boy. It is getting the temperature dropping, baby. I was supposed to be in the Philippines by now, man.
Yeah, you've only got a couple of days to wait, mate. You've only got a few days to wait, and you'll be there. Have you figured out how you're going to get all those shoes there yet? From Chris.
Actually, my Mike, we rock. Actually, my carry-on luggage just came, and I need to. I wonder if I can bring on 2 carry-on luggage.
You can take as much luggage as you want. You just need to pay for it.
I wonder how much an extra carry-on luggage is going to cost.
Go to your, if you have if you did it online, go to your ticket,
Jackie,
and it'll ask you it'll tell you what an extra piece of luggage is going to cost, because usually you can pay for your luggage before you get there. And it should tell you. Usually, I think it's usually like somewhere between $30 and $50. I don't know internationally what it is, but usually somewhere between $30 and $50 for a big, check bag or something like that.
Jackie Davis, what's going on, Jackie Davis?
Thank you, Miss Goffey. Steph, Mike, Murph, you're all awesome. Thank you, my love.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
We'll try and get to your video probably tomorrow, I should imagine.
Yes, tomorrow, most definitely, y'all. It's my bedtime. I've been drinking all this water. going back and forth, running to the bathroom, but I feel much better. I don't feel no pain. Oh
Yeah.
my gracious, I
Might
was in
to
pain.
get some rest, man, because he's going to be. Just imagine he's going to be traveling to the Philippines in a few days, and he's going to be jet lagged by the time he gets there. So
I'm there for a whole month to get over the jet lag. You guys should see it now. All right. Hey, we're gonna get on up out of here. Thank y'all so much for coming in here. And most definitely.
Yes, guys. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank y'all so much.
Love you all.
I didn't mean to bore y'all to death, but y'all take it light, take it slow. Tell them Uncle Mike told you so. Peace out.